Hello there. Welcome to the IWS Podcast. I'm your host, RJ, and I have some great guests with me today, the lovely Olga and Kate. How are we doing today?
Yay! Great. Real good.
Real good?
Yes.
Well, some of you may notice that the background's a little different. So we're actually shooting on set in Bangkok, Thailand. So a little bit of a different scenario, but the content is still the same. So we're here talking about mental health, and the information is still going to be for those who are unfamiliar with this type of content, who maybe don't engage in these type of discussions, especially for my men out there. And so hopefully we're going to learn a lot from these women today and get a lot of different perspective. I would love to jump in. Are you ladies ready?
Ready.
Okay. So, as most of you know, this is a platform focused on mental health. We always like to begin with starting with family because in my experience clinically, most of our experiences that shape our perspective and the way we see the world is based on our earlier years growing up. So Olga, I'm going to start with you because we drew straws before we started. Can you tell for us or help us understand a little bit more, what was it like growing up for you and your family?
It was great. I have a big family. Why are you laughing? It was great. Yeah, I had a really wild childhood. I basically grew up on a farm. Yes, pigs and all the stuff, hunting, because my grandfather, he had a farm built in the middle of nowhere, literally.
Okay.
Like you have to drive for 50 minutes, and you have to cross the river, you have to drive a little bit more. Here it is. So I grew up in a small town, and I spent all my free time running around like chasing chickens and shooting things. Just
Okay.
kidding. Not really. So my family is pretty loving. I have cousins. I have some cousins who are like sisters to me, really close. We do a lot of hugs and just saying we love each other. We play games, and none of the questions were too serious. We could always ask our uncles and aunts and like parents about anything, like anything. Like you would never get the answer like wait till you grow up or this and that.
Okay. So everybody's pretty open with each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much sometimes, but yes.
Now let me ask you, and let's make sure we put on the background. So you ladies are from where?
East of Russia, far east of Russia.
Okay. So would you say from what you're describing so far from your family, is that typical from what you may hear from Russian families, or is that more specific to your family and how you all
Like growing
interact?
up in the middle of nowhere, or having open discussions in the family?
Having the very open discussions with your family.
Not really.
No?
Yeah, not
Not
typical.
really. Not typical.
So would you say it's similar for you or not?
No. No, you will see that.
Yeah,
Quite
Kate
different.
used to joke that like I have a unusual
Drama-free childhood.
drama-free child, so I'm not really damaged much.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest challenge was my parents get divorced. For many people, I heard it's really difficult, but for me, it was like finally. So because I could see they were not good for each other, I never told them because it's not my thing to say.
Sure.
So it was not traumatizing for me at all. Like difficult for them, yes, but for me, no. For me, like I don't have anything against marriages like many people tend to. I don't think it was like a trauma. It was like an experience for me to make sure the person is right. Otherwise, you have like 14 years wasted,
Yeah.
which is not really good.
When you say that they divorced, how old were you?
14.
14. Did they talk to you about it before it happened, or did they just say, "Hey, somebody's moving out"? From what you remember, remember.
That's a good question. Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, you never answered that. No. So I'm really like right now I have two dads and mom, like
Okay.
my mom. So my stepdad, he's great, and we had really good connection from the very beginning, but we never were close with my father. He used to work a lot. So it wasn't really that different of a feeling because he would absent a lot, you know?
Okay.
So when he would be at home, there would be fights, you know, nothing like not domestic like violence,
Right.
like nobody would kill each other, just like screaming random, like
Yeah.
harmless screaming. So for me, I don't think I even like felt much of an impact, but nobody talked to me that I don't remember.
No, it's
You
interesting.
were question. I know.
I mean, you were older, so I wouldn't have been surprised if they did. But I also know a lot of times parents are thinking about protecting kids,
Yes.
so they tend to hide stuff.
Yes.
And so they might wait till the very last minute when they feel like they have to say something and say, "Hey, dad's moving out or mom's leaving."
I think I felt the gap being like wider, but also there was a time when I was really most of the time on my own, not like neglected, but my mom, because I grew up in a small village, so everything in regards to like getting additional education or anything like that, you have to go to the bigger city. That's where I came from. It was like 500 kilometers, which is nothing for us. We would drive often, but my mom would be there very often, so I had my routine. So no father, no mother, you know, like my other family, uncles. It's really small town, like 5,000 people town. So we know all the neighbors and everything. So I could feel that I see my father less. So maybe like I think I felt it, and then my dad my mom, she introduced me to my stepdad. Like that's a different story, but that was very smooth. And I never felt like everything between like my relationship would be threatened. Like my mom, she would have my back always, regardless. Like Mama Tiger, yeah. I think she asked me like years later. She's like, "Did you feel like scared or anything?" I still remember how we like met. I was doing my math. I hate math. I hate it. I don't understand anything. Regardless of having two grandmothers, math teachers, nothing went to me. So, and he came over. He's like, "Do you want any help?" I'm like, "Thank goodness, take me." So, and I loved him. Like I loved him straight away. No, nothing. Like he's very smart man and very kind. So he actually was more like a father to me than mine for a very long time, and he always pushed me to make contact with my father. Like it's a different story, but we established our relationship how many years ago? Maybe 3 years ago, yeah.
A little bit more.
Around 4 years ago, I started talking with my dad. Like it gets to, I don't remember who called whom.
I think you.
I think yes.
Yes, you tried to reach.
Because also he lived in east of Russia, and I left after university, so I'm never on the phone in general. I never really call my relatives and everything. So also it's like a big difference. And then I left Russia. It's not really easy to maintain relationship. You have to you have to be willing. But he was a like major dad figure. So but right now I'm like really happy. Like I'm really close with my father, and it's like our relationship in progress. Like we still like finding things that we can like talk about and everything. So yeah,
it's true. I see the difference between their relationship.
She actually like
yes, because now it's like really close, and before that it was like
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So
also maybe through mom's point of view, although she would never say anything bad, like you know, like badmouth him, nothing. Like she would always say like he's always your father, like I'm always your mother, but like you don't have to hear things. You can feel the resentment,
of
you
course.
know, that like they're not happy in the marriage, so you can feel it through your mom. Also, you don't have your experience, so you still look through her eyes in a way. So, but I think my stepdad, he gave me a good understanding of the different type of like relationship. Also, there was like the first loving relationship for my mom, so I could see. For me, it was like
you got to see the difference between the way your stepfather was versus your father.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. He spoiled her like awfully. Like she's the boss. I'm like, nope, she's not. Like he spoiled her, and like I get traumatized by mom. I'm not. I'm just kidding. In case she's watching and translating. But yeah, he spoiled her. Like whatever she wants, which is not a good thing sometimes, because if she's mad, like for her it would be like, okay, to yell at me, like I came from university, she's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, great, hello to you too. but it was good to see how the relationship can look like when both are like in love, you know, and respect each other and everything. So, and for me, he was great. He would never introduce me in a way like, okay, this is my stepdaughter. Like my wife.
Like he claimed you.
Yeah, this is my wife, this is my daughter. So regardless of what's going on between them, I also have a brother, like from like my stepdad, half brother. Regardless of what's going on between, like if him and my mom, they have a fight, or like my step, like I don't care. When I call him, like we talk our stuff. Like I ask him how he's doing and everything. So I'm like, I have 2 dads, and he's so happy that I'm like friends with my dad.
I think I want to touch on that real quick. Actually, I'm a father. I have a 12-year-old son, and I talk a lot about co-parenting. I don't know if this is a big topic in Russia. I don't know if that's something that happens often, but in America, that is it's a more common experience where people are either married and split, or they never get married and you have a child, which was my case. And so sometimes it's difficult to separate emotional, relationship and like focus on the child or children. And so I'm very big on examples. So I love what you said, because even if you see maybe not the best example of your biological parents, they separate, some people, that's all they see. So then they say, oh, see, these relationships, they don't work, because examples are important. But then you got to see another one that gave you a different look at it, to see, oh, it is possible. They can embrace each other and be sweet to each other and maybe be more considerate to each other than what I saw with my father. So I always talk about trying to set good examples for children, because it really matters whether it's your biological child or not. It really matters what kids see, because as children get older, that becomes an expectation once you get to our age, and you say, oh, either you believe something is possible or you don't think it is based on what you saw.
I think that's why it's important to have a relationship with your child, regardless of what's going on between like
Absolutely.
I'm thinking that, so when you like have a co-parenting thing, right? You spend less time, but sometimes like with your children, but sometimes depending on your work, like it's the same as if it was co-parenting. I'm thinking about my dad.
Right.
He would be away for a lot of time, and before they get divorced, and it's not like we didn't have a relationship. We would have a tradition going to see like his side of the family, which was in another like town. So we loved that, but that was like too small to have deep connection. Maybe because also he was absent for a long time, but like there were some things that did not make me happy. I wanted him to be more involved, like in this matters or in that matters. Yeah. But thanks to what we had, traditions and little things that we would still do when he would come back. Like I remember that. I don't remember the bad parts. I do, but I have to make an effort to remember what things made me mad at him. But despite of the divorce and everything and the fights, like I don't blame any of them. Like I would never say, okay, my relationship sucks because of you guys. Yeah. So when I heard them fighting when I was too little, it was hard because I was just too little and it got scary. So I remember when my grandmother told them off because they made me cry. I remember that I was maybe like 3 or 2.5. It was like yelling at home, and then on the way to my grandma, so they like pissed me off so much I cried. I was mad, it's like being sad and mad and angry, and Exactly. She told them off. I remember that was like less of that later, but it wouldn't make me think that when I grow up I'm never gonna get married. Like I was never a fan of the marriage in general. Like it's not like it's not for me. It's just like it's not the only thing that can be in your life. Like for many people, yes. But for me, it was like, okay, this shit I don't want in my life. Like this doesn't work. Like I would just pick up the information.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that should not be like this. So I should keep like an eye on this and this and this. If this like this, maybe it's not gonna work.
No, that's good. I mean, and I'm very transparent with the audience, I had similar experience myself, and I always know for me, I try to take something positive from those experiences, but I know not everybody does that. I know that that's something I realize that I do that, and some people do, which sounds like you do, but a lot of people don't.
Because it's easier to blame.
Exactly. They look at that, they fixate on that and say, you did this to me, therefore I struggle with connecting with others because I'm always worried that what if I have the same outcome as you? So I don't want to put myself in that position. I don't want to take that type of risk. That's what I think about it from a parenting perspective, why it's important to, even if you separate, make sure you're civil. make sure you can both participate, make sure you can communicate well, because your kids are paying attention. It matters to them. It absolutely matters to them. So I'm glad that you had a different take on that, because I know for a lot of people, when I do talk to them, they don't have that initial reaction, and it takes them years of kind of processing it to recognize it.
Such a waste of time. Yeah, it's just...
I would agree, but one thing I will tell you, I realize working with the people I work with, it's hard to judge anybody because we're so unique. Everybody has such unique circumstances. When you put yourself in their shoes, even if you think like, oh, I wish it just came to you faster, I wish you figured it out faster, everybody's going on their own journey. So it's hard to compare, like even when you have the same country, the same age, the same community, there's so much change individual to that person that you kind of have to have more, what I asked for, more empathy for them. Kate, I want to jump to you. Same question. Obviously, we've been talking with Olga for a little bit. I want to hear from you about your experience growing up with your family.
Tell us all about your trauma.
Thanks God, my family won't watch this podcast. I hope so.
I'll show them.
Yeah, it was quite different, and I continue telling it to Olga because like, okay, it's not like it was in my family, because like, first of all, like I have 3 siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister. So we're a big family, mother and father, and my sister and I, we have a big gap with our younger brothers. So basically we were like mothers. Yes.
Can you help me understand how big is the age gap?
Like me and my
sister is the first one.
Sister, yes, I have the older sister, then me, then I have 7 years with my brother, and then 10 years.
Ooh,
so 7 and 10 years.
How old is Anna?
Huh?
How old is Anna?
And my sister, she has 12 and 15 years.
Wow.
Yes, with them, not with me. So we basically like, our father was like working, and our mom was also like, she kept working after giving birth. So basically we were like not nannies, but like mothers, and it affected a lot. So because like part of our youth, yes, it was yes
already.
It was like the thing that I was discussing with my therapist, like not far along. Not far along, because like, yes, like just recently, like I knew that it affected me, and I for many years I decided that I don't want to have children, because it felt like I already have 2. I already have 2 brothers, but it felt like they're my own sons. Yes, so I feel, even now when they are like grown-ups, I feel responsible, and like I feel like every struggle they have, like it hurts. So yes, it felt like I have my own children. So like, okay, I don't want any more children. I already have. But like recently understood that, okay, I need to separate. I'm not their mother.
How recently? We need details.
Like last year. It was like
I helped.
Last year was like very like emotionally life-changing. Yes, life-changing. So I understood that, okay, I'm not their mother, I'm their biggest sister. They are like grown-ups. They should
take responsibility.
They should take responsibility. Yes, they should live their own life, and like no. And like I started to think that, okay, maybe I want to have my own children. So yeah, it changed my mind. But still, it takes time to separate emotionally.
Absolutely.
Yes. So yeah, that was like one challenge in my childhood. Yes. I wouldn't say like I was like very traumatized, but yes, it had some challenges.
Of course.
So first, yes, 2 little brothers. So no youth, basically. For example, like when me and my friends we were going for a walk somewhere, I was always yes, I brought my brothers. So
some
like
people bring
friends,
their backpacks.
yeah, and I was with a stroller. Yeah, so and like very often like I was 12 or whatever, and like when I went to the hospital or whatever, some ladies thought that I was a mom of, and first like I was like very like, what are you saying, how can I be a mom, like I'm 12, but back then I looked like older than I was, so more mature, and then I just that must sound
easier.
Like,
it was easier.
it was easier, yes,
every
like
time.
yeah, so yeah,
Yes,
to
I'm
agree.
a slut. I know that. I love it.
Yes. So yes. Then like I also recently understood that I always knew that I didn't have like, and I don't have like very close relationship with my father. Like I have him in my life, like father. Yes, they are not. They are divorced, my parents, but on paper. So like after they gave birth to me, they got separated, they got divorced, but then like after 1 or 2 years, they got back together.
Okay.
And they had 2 more kids. So like they're still living with each other. So, but like there were no close relationship between me and my father, and actually it's not only with me but like also with my brothers, and like I was very not angry, but like it felt like through bad that I saw that my father, he didn't spend time with my brothers, and like it hurt, because like I knew that it's very important, yes, for boys to have a man, to have a...
We're going to get into that. I'm glad you brought that up.
To have a father, like a role model and blah, blah.
For girls is also...
Yeah.
You had to be a man of the
yes,
family.
but like as I was like in my mother role, so I was more afraid and more scared for my brothers. But like this year, yes, I just understood that it affected also me, because like we didn't spend time. He didn't play with me. He didn't we didn't go anywhere, like only me and him. And like he didn't tell me how beautiful I am, how good I am, or whatever. Like he basically knew what great I am. So
the basics.
Yes, basics. But it's actually it's quite common for fathers, I guess, to not know which grade.
We will talk about it. I want to add one thing in there, because I think that this is important. Because I am a father, so I talk about this a lot. And I grew up with a father who worked a lot. And it's interesting hearing you talk about your siblings. I have an older sister. She's 4.5 years older than me. But she felt similarly. But for her, it was because our mom passed when we were very, very young. So it was me, her, and our dad. And our dad worked a lot. So she kind of felt responsible for me. She feels like she raised me, which to a certain degree she did. And she said something similar to what you said. Like she felt responsible for me for a long time. And that kind of took away her own, not take away her desire to have kids, but it took away some of her youth and having to mature and having to grow up so fast. And obviously I didn't know what that feels like, because I was receiving that. So when you said that, you make me think of her. I'm sure she would agree with what you're saying right now. But the second part about the dads, I talk about that one a lot, because fathers in particular and men in particular. So again, this is targeted to the men, because men typically are not taught that it is okay to talk about a lot of emotional issues. Most men that I know, that I've had the fortune to get to know, they were raised by men who didn't give them the example. So naturally, as they get older, they don't show the example. My father's father was not a soft man. He was a very hard man. So he drove my father to not be emotionally available. So even though me and my sister needed him a lot, he was not available. Granted, he had to work a lot, so we give him a lot of credit. However, to the same point you're making, and even Olga, to the same point you were making, you gotta have some level of presence. You have to be present, because you were talking about basically feeling validated and affirmed by him, which you would want. I hope to have a daughter one day. You have to do that as the man, so that way she feels like she understands not only her value, but like the base level of respect. So if she ever deals with a man that's not you in her future, she knows, hey, he has to at least bring this to the table, because this is how my father treats me. And if you don't do that, I'm not even talking to you, because you're not even doing the bare minimum here. But when the father is absent, in your case, like what you're describing, it can make it harder for you to understand, what should I deal with? What should I put up with? How do I see myself? That comes from, not that moms don't give it to you, but it's different because each parent has a different role to play in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like father is like a first role model of man for girls. So yeah, it's like very important. Yeah, maybe like you don't like quite understand it, but like yeah. So and now I understood that, like, because like I didn't felt that way, and then I didn't get all the appreciation and blah 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 from my father. I understood that I can't accept quite like strong affection from man to me. Yeah, it was like wow, like because like I don't know, like yeah, no, like I love myself, like but when there are men in my life who like were like very deeply I don't know, in love with me or whatever, I didn't like, I was I closed up, like
because it was not usual.
Yes, it was not usual.
It's foreign.
It was not usual. So like, oh no, and like it had like an opposite reaction from me. So no, I ran away, or like I resented them. So like no.
Yeah, little things feels too much.
Yes, because like if it was like too much, but
I'm
like
mad at your father.
it was like, for me it was like too much. It was like too genuine. Yes. So and I felt like shy because like what?
Right.
Like is it like really?
And
I don't believe it. Like
even thinking about what you're saying, because it goes back to what I was saying when she was giving her example about her father versus her stepfather, right? Why does that example matter? Because exactly what you're saying. Yeah. When you don't have that example, you don't trust.
Yes.
You're like, I'm not sure, is this real? Are you being authentic, or do you want something from me? Are you trying to manipulate to get something from me? Versus if you have that person there and they're present throughout your life, we use the term, you're grounded. You are grounded in that attachment with that person. So therefore it allows us to form new attachments. If I'm secure with my mom, if I'm secure with my dad, as a man, I'm okay with forming attachments with men. I'm comfortable to take a risk to form attachments with women. Why? Because I know my mother loves me and my father loves me. When I don't have those things, it makes me question them. It makes me be more cautious. It makes me manage risk differently. So I'm gonna be a lot more concerned than that person who seems like very effortlessly they're willing to go talk to people and they let people interact with them and they share. That's a huge reason why we're here and why I talk about it, because a lot of men, and most of the men that I know, they don't know how to do what I'm doing right now. So I didn't know how to do this because my father didn't teach me how to do this. I had to go to therapy before I became a therapist to learn how to do it, because it was not modeled for me. So I very much am very sensitive to people out there who have these experiences, which is also why I love talking about it, because then you start realizing, again, the power and the impact of what you see early on in life.
And like the one thing that I understood, that it was quite common for my generation, yes, with fathers like that and also mothers like that, like with emotional unavailable, yes. So it's quite common, and not only in Russia, but I also like spoke with friends like from other countries. Yeah, the problem in the
it's global.
Yeah, it's global. And this is one thing. The other thing is like maybe for men, like being emotionally available and vulnerable is like it's quite difficult. Yes, it's quite difficult. And for many generations, like they were taught that men don't cry, and actually also girl don't cry or whatever. So
just don't cry.
Yeah, just don't cry.
Keep
So
it together.
men are being raised without being able to show their emotions.
Correct.
Even if it's like anger or whatever, so they're being punished or so it's important. And now like I see among my friends, like when for example, like I have a friend who has a young son, and his nanny was telling him like, okay, you're a boy, don't cry. And I was telling my friend, and she said,
so mad.
yeah, because like I was like, okay, and I'm telling my friends, oh my god, like
I'm gonna kill her.
not kill her, but it's not okay. It's not okay. It's what we understood, that no, it's not okay. Men can cry, girls can cry, like it's okay. And to say some things from like a father, yes, it's very important for the girls. Maybe it's like words, you think it's just words. No, it's important. Yes, it's matter. And when the father says like, okay, like I love you, you're the most beautiful girl, you're smart, you're blah blah, like it's important. Yes, it makes basics. So like my father told me that he loves me only like 1 year or 2 years ago, and alcohol helped him, because like in Russia many men, because they don't know how to show their emotions, they use alcohol as a help. Yes. Because it opens them, it let them show their emotions. So my father, he's basically like more open when he drinks. So he told me he loved me, and
like, I need to tell you something. Give me a second.
like it was like, okay, I was 33, 34. That okay.
Don't know it.
Okay.
No, it's interesting to hear you say that too. Number one, I 100% agree. It is a global thing. I've talked to a lot of people from around the world, and a lot of these issues are universal. Like, and the crazy thing is we talk about them in the same way, actually. But when you mention the alcohol and the emotions, I would also agree. I think most men were taught to suppress.
Exactly.
From when we're very, very small. I know for a fact, like that's exactly what I was taught. I was told explicitly to do. And so naturally, you know, when you're learning that from very small, the crazy thing is, what I always like to give the example is what happens when you get in a relationship. So women naturally, you tell me if I'm wrong here, want to talk about things. They typically want to discuss somewhat if something's wrong, if they're concerned, if they want to share. And men, typically, we run.
Yeah.
As soon as we hear anything along those lines, we're like looking for the door because we're so frightened. Because going back to your other point, it's so foreign. We don't do it. It's not normal for us. Doesn't mean we don't need to work on it. To be clear, we need to work on it. But I'm saying that's where we are today. The crazy part that it's been difficult for me when I was initially going through my own journey, right? To try to have empathy and understanding is thinking about, okay, what happened to the generation before you, right? It's easy to say, you did this to me, or you didn't do this, and that's why I'm struggling with this, right? But trying to imagine, what did my parent go through, or what did they not have that maybe made it hard for them to give me what I need? Right? And none of this is to excuse, by the way, to be very clear, none of this is excusing anybody's behavior.
But it helps to understand.
But understanding is very important, because understanding can allow us sometimes to heal. It can allow us to accept so that we can move forward. That's something, honestly, in my journey in therapy, like I had to do it because I had deep resentment for this person. And I had to really unpack and understand that it doesn't mean that it was okay. But if you don't know something, how can you teach it to somebody else, right? And I know I'm talking to two teachers, so I'm sure you can appreciate that logic.
Yeah, exactly. And sorry,
It's okay.
I'm not finished.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Things you said, like you're trying to help men, to like be more open. I don't know if it will help in regards to communication, like in communication with your children. I didn't have bad experience with my dad, even though like they were like not in love with my mom. So how would I put it? So if it's difficult to communicate, right? Since my stepdad came to me at the age as like teenager, that's the most like that's the beginning of the serious relationship you can have, right? You're becoming a like little adult, right?
Absolutely.
So, but before that, I still had a good relationship with males in my family.
Okay.
I have like dad and uncle and my grandfather.
Good.
So like I always have them as a constant male present in my family, even though I didn't have deep conversations with my father. We're quite cuddly family. So when my dad would come, like those like one summer trips, those were every year. So that was great, and we would like play on the way when we were like driving to see like that side of the family, like have fun. But when he would come home, like during those like work breaks, and he would always have the same routine. He would like have his beer or like eat, and he would watch movies. I would always be a part of it. He would let me sit all over him. So like no conversation, not much of the conversation, but he would always play like card games with me. Like I know plenty of the card games. Like I would hold his beer. He would let me sip. Like doesn't matter how old I am. Like that's like we don't really have any addictions in our family, like for children, because everything was open. You can try this and this. So that's why I was never like, I can't wait to get like 21 or 18. I'm gonna get drunk. For me, I could say I'm like, it actually tastes disgusting because I tried it when I was 2. It's disgusting. So for me, I remember I think I did ponytails for my dad and for my grandpa and for my uncle. I don't remember like long hours conversation, but I remember a lot of interactions. Like it was just easy to come and just sit on a lap or play stuff. Nobody would be mad at me for throwing literally shit or dirt because I like to play. Like I'm a quiet child, barefoot and everything. So not much of the communication, so nobody had to be sensitive,
I think that's a fair point, and I would agree with you. I would say men in general, we are action-oriented people. Women usually like to talk. Men, we usually like to do. You're saying, oh yeah, my dad liked me to be around, because that's typically how we would show our level of affection.
Yeah.
Like just, be in my presence without me having to say things. But what I would still say, going back to Kate's point though, it does matter though. You need those affirmations too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you might be more of a unique example because you said I had other male figures,
yes.
Right? I always say it's better to have something better than nothing, right?
Definitely.
Exactly.
However, if you can get the parent, there's nothing that's gonna beat that. Like an uncle can't beat dad.
Nothing.
It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you came from him. If he sits you down, if your uncle sits you down and says, "Hey, I love you," right?
Yeah.
But then your dad does it, it's gonna mean more.
Absolutely.
It's nothing against your uncle. So I'm always a fan. Like, and I say that because when my mom passed, I have a big family. She had a bunch of sisters. All her sisters and my grandma, they all stepped up for me and my sister. Did it replace my mom? Of course not. But it helped. Because we kind of feel her presence through them. But it's not exactly the same. No. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
it does. It does.
Yeah, like in my case, like I also had a grandpa, and we were like really close. So like he was closer to me than my father for many years, and like from him I get words of affection. Yes. Really? No, really. No, it's just like lately when she was getting like very old, like some brain malfunction. So yes, his character became like
Vampire.
yes, but like when I was a child, no, he told me all those nice things that father should told.
Never told me that before. Maybe I would.
like no,
Hate him less.
He told me that I'm a princess, that blah 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 blah. Yeah, exactly. Because it was like
She told me that before. I saw a completely different picture of him being evil.
But no, when I was a child, he was quite a male role model for me. But still, it's not the same.
It's true, and that's all I say. It's not. Again, I'm always big on just trying to understand where we begin, but I also know that for those of us that are parents, because a lot of times I work with parents or I work with people who are trying to separate peacefully, and I'm always trying to remind them, like, do not forget your kid. Like, I don't care what's going on with you two. Like, you guys don't want to work it. Okay, fine. Do not forget about them. Because it's very natural for kids to blame themselves. It's very natural for them to internalize all of that pain. They take it as their own, as if they did something wrong.
Really?
It's a very common experience where, not always, but I'm saying it's a common experience where if you take somebody who has grown up with their parents for 10 to 15 years and then they split at this very critical moment in their life, they start thinking like, oh, is it because I was rude? Is it because I didn't follow this rule? Is it because I said this one time? They start picking at things because all they know is they're trying to wrap their head around why are they not going to stay together anymore. And it's not their fault, to be clear. I'm just saying it that I'm always trying to remind those people out there who may separate or who are contemplating it to remember to take care of your children. Because those examples that we set for them, as I think we've all learned in this discussion so far, it really matters.
They'll stay forever.
Yes.
Yeah, and like in Olga's case, like her father, maybe like they were not very close, but still he spent time with her.
Right.
Like just like what she said, like sitting together playing cards. With me and my father, no, we didn't like. Yes, we we spent like holidays together, but he didn't teach me how to ride a bike, do some things or whatever. No, like me and him, no interactions at all. So yes, I think that's like, so spending time together, like teaching, playing, whatever, and like words of affirmation. That's what I think is like very, very important. And also like what is common and what is common for me, for my generation, and like Olga is like quite quite unusual. The very like emotional support, and like in her family, it's okay to hug each other, to say I love you. In my family,
She's
and
all
among
the stuff she missed when she was a child from me.
For me and my friends. So like I'm not saying like about only me. So it's not usual. So yeah, we, for example, when we don't see each other for a long time, we hug each other. But like saying like I love you, still it's struggle sometimes.
I respect that. And again, even going back to I'll add to that part, because I'll show you even personally how I've had my own challenges in that area. When I was growing up, and I've kind of talked about this story before, but my dad, he was, in terms of punishment, he was abusive. He was like a physical beat you type of guy.
Oh, I get this stuff too.
And so what used to mess me up, and it took me a really long time to understand it, was like my dad really only said he loved me after he beat me.
Oh.
And so I had a very twisted view of what love meant, because it only happened at that time. So it took me a long time to like unpack what that even meant. And I found myself in some situations I shouldn't have been in. But to add to that, my son's the opposite. He says it all the time. And I remember early on when he was very small, it took me a long time because I kind of didn't know how to respond, because it wasn't my experience growing up. It was foreign. Not that my other family wasn't like that, but specifically with my father. And so he kind of like, my son started to coach me out of that almost inadvertently, because he demanded it. So slowly but surely I got more comfortable, and then now we're in this beautiful place where it is very normal. But it took me a while because I had to break this idea of what I was taught for 18 years, and then realize like it didn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to feel as uncomfortable as it did. and also that some of the people do have experiences like I'm saying or like you're saying, and some again are more well-adjusted, and so it feels very effortless for them to say that, and I think that that's beautiful, and I wish for more people them to have that type of experience.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what's your thoughts about the education children with a belt?
Like physical abuse.
Physical abuse. I mean,
well, it's
slap someone with a belt, or
it's different now. So I grew up in the 90s.
Not like on a daily basis.
No, but
in general.
No, in general. So during that time, I mean, it still wasn't permissive. You were allowed to do it, but the rules were like you couldn't bruise
What do
them.
you think as a father?
Oh, me? No, not at all. Like, I learned from that experience that, like, I'll give you an example. This is something I had to process myself in therapy. Again, this is something I teach parents. And I'm going to say in America, particularly Black and Latino parents, these are things that's very much in our culture. So we have to, like, be more sensitive to it because a lot of us have this experience. A lot of us, we're taught to kind of fear your parent. And that's what creates this illusion of control. You do what I say because I'm going to do this, right? So what I had to recognize and what I realized as I got older was it didn't make me respect my father. It just made me afraid of him until I got big enough.
So the only motivation is like the fear of
right. But once I get to a certain age, once I got big enough, then there became this, okay, I'm going to fight back now because I'm not going to take this anymore. So I think for parents out there, when they believe that that's the way to go about it, what I challenge them is I say, listen, what's the lesson? What are you trying to teach them? Do you want them to respect you? Do you want them to come talk to you? Do you want them to come listen to you whenever you want to share something? Or do you just want them to be afraid? Because if you want them to be afraid, then beat them. But if you want all the other stuff that I just said, you cannot do that because you're not teaching them the right way to want to be open with somebody. You talked about vulnerability earlier. Why would I ever be vulnerable with somebody who beats me? Right? That's a pretty easy thing to understand. No person, I don't care if it's your sibling, if it's your boyfriend, your husband, whoever, you're not going to tolerate that. So for some of us, because we grew up that way, we deal with it a bit more until we learn to break that idea in our brain. And so I did. As a father, no, I don't do that because I understand that it's not going to help me become closer to my son. It's going to drive me further from him because all he's going to do is then be afraid of me.
The thing is, like, when parents use physical abuse, it's not because, like, they see it's a parenting routine. It's their way to,
siphon that energy.
Like,
let go of shit.
Yes, because like parenting is like quite challenging. You have lack of sleep, lack of money, everything, and when your child is naughty, so like your first like emotional, it's easier. It's easier
of
to
course
beat.
It is.
So yes, it takes courage and it takes maturity not to raise your hand, or belt or whatever, and sit and talk, because So that's why it's.
So it's never justified. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I was asking for that.
Yes.
Like I will.
I mean, I get it.
Sometimes.
I get it. Trust me. In my family, like, and a lot of people I know, it's really hard for them because, again, when you learn something, when you grow up that way, it's normal. So when somebody says like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," you're like, "Why?" Like, it works. Or they'll say something like this: "It works. Look at me," right? And I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that statement because of what you just said, and I know because I've been in that position. The natural reaction, you piss me off.
Yes.
That's why I want to hit you.
Exactly.
But what I ask people, and I ask myself in those moments, what is the lesson? If I just react to you, that's not teaching you good life skills when it is your turn, when you are an adult, when you're out in the world. Why? Because we cannot beat people.
Everyone,
That's how you go to jail, right? So you can't behave in this manner. So why am I modeling this behavior to you that is unhealthy? that's to me, that's our cross to bear as parents. And yes, I will admit 100%, it is hard sometimes because I learned a way that's not the best. So I have to fight that feeling and recognize, wait, but that's not going to teach him a lesson. All that's teaching him is be afraid. Anytime you make the tiniest mistake, this is what I'm going to come with. That's not good. Like, I don't encourage that for anybody. So I'm speaking to that, having gone through that experience. And I think for so many parents, if they don't challenge that type of thinking, they will have terrible relationships or no relationship with their child when they become an adult, because they'll just leave.
Yeah, it's very limited. That's what I was thinking. Very limited relationship, because every abused child will be like, I cannot wait to get away. So
like, I don't have to be here
anymore.
Once I'm done, I'm not going to talk to you. Why would I share with you?
Exactly.
That's the point I was trying to raise earlier. So I always try to impress that upon parents, because sometimes I'm working with ones that are actively separating or actively divorcing, and they're like, all they're focusing on is the other person, like the other parent. And I'm like, I understand that, but you need to remember those kids though. Like, they're hurting throughout this process. You need to pay special attention.
Also, you need to keep in mind that if you want them to support you when you're like, all them, keep this in mind when you really matter. And like, okay, I know someone is gonna bring me my glass of water one day. Fine.
Hey, listen, you're not wrong.
No,
you're not wrong. It matters. I tell my son that now. I'm like, I don't expect anybody to take care of me, but what my hope is, if I did a good enough job, you would want to help me if I need it.
Would know from the very beginning. They will never ask me like, did you bring me there so I can wash the dishes? I'm like, yes, exactly. You are in charge of vacuuming. You're gonna fold my clothes. You're gonna wipe my bath. Yeah, like, I'm not even kidding. So they would know the job.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I think that people should have kids when they are matured enough.
When they get this shit
emotionally, mentally and physically, when they have experience when they are healed, when they have all the things, so like they will raise their kids in better way.
When they have the major issues work through.
Yes.
You can never be perfectly ready.
Exactly.
No,
never.
That's very true.
You will always make some mistakes as a parent.
But if you have 32 kilos of
at least if you can change and solve some problems before you have kids.
Of course.
So otherwise it will be on top of that stuff, you have the crying mess of a child now.
Yes. And now I see a very good example among my friends who already have kids. So they are
and it works out.
Yes, they are more prepared. They are more thoughtful about parenting.
They have energy.
Yes, they have energy.
And a set of mind.
Yes. So yes, I see the good thing that is changing. It's changing.
Yeah.
Around the world.
I think part of it, and I know it's not just me, I think there's much more of a consideration of what we've gone through and really trying to work on ourselves to what your point is, Kate. So that way, like you said, we can set better examples. And I always think about being a good role model. To me, that's a key component of being a parent. Like, you're modeling, at least to me, I usually talk about this, man and woman, father and mother. If you have a girl, dad represents kind of like her first love. He represents kind of what she will want from her first partner in life, and how he treats her. Mom represents to her the kind of woman she probably would want to be when she gets older. And then for a son, the father represents the type of man that he wants to be, the type of man he wants to hold himself to. And mom represents the type of woman he wants to love him like her. So they both play a role in that way. But if you don't have those experiences with them, then it can be challenging. Or if they're not as open with you, or they're not as vulnerable with you, or they don't model these types of behaviors with you, where are you supposed to learn them from? You can learn, but it's gonna be harder, because then you got to kind of do it on your own when you're an adult.
Also, you're not sure which example to take as an example.
Yes.
Because your parents, you come from two people.
Yeah.
And then you meet different people and that seems fine. And then this seems fine. And then those have a difference of opinion. Which one should I take?
Right. And we want a balanced approach where you take, you take a bit of each. But sometimes, we don't have families that are like that. So you got to work with, what you have.
And usually when you have some like bad experience, like with physical abuse or emotional abuse in childhood, you choose there are two ways, for you to choose. First, you accept it like normal and you continue the
line.
Yes, the line. Or you see that it's not okay and you accept that, no, I won't do that. It's not acceptable. So like I see in me and my sister, we see like very different from our parents in parenting issues. So my sister with her children, like physical abuse, no. But sometimes okay, a little bit maybe, because like it's quite challenging because like the father is quite not in presence. So yes, she's a single parenting. It's challenging.
Again, it's an example of you don't have your stuff together.
It can be a similar situation when you feel like you're trying to raise kids by yourself.
Yeah,
it's overwhelming.
Yes, exactly.
I would make the case to your point, and I think we all know this. Children are not meant to be raised by themselves.
Exactly.
That's why it's so hard, because one person was never meant to do it.
Exactly.
It's always supposed to be at least two.
Like two people sometimes not enough.
Yeah, and then that's why we have that. Well, in English we have that expression: it takes a village to raise a child, because sometimes you have extra support, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, family, friends, whoever. They're coming in because it does. Every child requires a lot of attention, a lot of care. You have to work. You have to provide for them.
You have to also be you.
You have to. What I would always say, you got to take care of yourself. You can't lose yourself in the process, which a lot of us do. A lot of us sacrifice ourselves to be what we think is good parents, and I think we're actually not setting the best example in that. But we'll save that one for a moment. I want to pivot just for a moment because I want to, of course, acknowledge where we are and how you two got here. Because we're obviously not. Well, for me, we're not in America. And number two, we're not in Russia. So pivoting to
Thank
UK.
goodness for us.
Because we started with Olga last time. Okay, I want to ask you what was like a deciding factor or part of your reasoning to come here? Why did you want to be here?
Last year was like life changing for me. In many ways, really. And what? Yes, I would. Olga helped me a lot because like no, because of the war, I started to feel that I don't want to be in Russia. First of all, that no, I need to leave. Like I really need to leave. It was the first thing. The second thing, what taught me, and I see that not only me but many people, that you embrace the fact that this is your life. So you don't need to postpone the things you want to do. That okay, you can die tomorrow. So like, what's the point? If you want to do something, just do it. So basically, like I wanted to work abroad, to live abroad, like for many years. But like my life was quite. My life was quite comfortable in Russia. I had friends, a good job, so blah blah blah. And it's quite frightening to go and move somewhere. Yes. Like especially when you are not like in your 20s anymore, so like it's quite challenging. And okay, it's quite secure here, so maybe it's good to go and move, but maybe someday. And last year I understood that no, like first I need to leave, second like I don't want to waste my time anymore. Like I want to leave now because like I don't know when it's gonna end. So that's why when I called you. No. When I finally understood that, accepted it, so I told Olga that I want to get out, and she was, let's go. So yes, because like I think I would still do it, but with her it made so much easier, so much.
You're welcome.
No, really. I think like we grow in our relationship. Always, yes, and like it.
How long do we know each other?
15, 14, something. 14.
It's crazy when we're like, oh,
yes,
like we found another side we can like be
yes.
close.
So yes, like I would see Olga as like a partner. So if she would be a man, I would definitely go for her. Yeah.
It's easier for us. We just need to find an equivalent.
Yes. Exactly.
In male example.
Yes, because like
because we
sometimes I need a push. Yes, and because I need time to process, to think it over, and she gives me like pushes,
and I need someone to hold my horses.
Yes. So exactly, it's a very good partnership balance, and yes, very productive.
That's good.
So yeah,
you've always been.
And like I'm very happy we're here. Like I think I have some like mental issues, not. I would say depression, like for many years, and basically, despite of the whole terrible thing with war, and like it really affects like a lot. But still here, I feel happy. Happy like every day with just only with living, basically with doing some basic stuff.
Yeah.
So like it was a life changer.
That's beautiful.
Good.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I
hope it won't like because I still can go to jail.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
We should support.
Yes.
The government.
Can you expand on that? Because
I don't give a fuck.
I'm not familiar with is that like a law or is that a rule?
Yes, it's a law that you can't show your respect for Ukraine or all the things, or you can't say that okay, we're doing something wrong. No.
For the men, if they reject going to war, they get from 3 to 9 years in prison.
And like
they
even
say, like, I'm not going to
people are getting in jail for only like words that we are not support. We don't support.
So everything basically you have to project that you are in support of what's happening. And if you don't, then you
don't say anything.
Your safety is at risk.
Yes. They watch Instagram. It's actually blocked. No, you can use VPN. No.
Yeah, you can use VPN.
Yeah, Kate has more information. I don't watch the news. It's all this shit. So she has more information.
Okay.
About this.
I understand that like we are ordinary people, not like some famous, but still, ordinary people are getting into jail for
like I have examples of my like I have a lot of classmates who are in the military. They went to the military university and everything. So the first thing I did when everything started, I get into contact with them to see if they're alive. So many of them tried to get out of the whole system, which was like life-changing. You have the obligation contract. Your like livelihood depends on you have house which will be yours after serving this amount of years. So if you quit now,
you lose it.
You not only lose it, you can lose your freedom because of this. So my ex-boyfriend, he's going through some really rough time. Really rough time. Yeah, so I know some details which like for me, I cannot wrap my mind around it. So it's like I don't know. It's very little to say that it's crazy, unfair, and everything. Yeah. So I'm really happy we're not.
But it is, of course, it's not like we can compare it with what Ukrainians are going through.
No, but
we also have friends in Ukraine.
I was gonna say, I'm always an advocate. What I say is we can hold two truths at the same time. Meaning, you can still have understanding of how you all may feel, and still have, I would say, sympathy for those on the other side.
Especially when you talk to them while they're being bombed.
Right. It's not like you're advocating either way. But I think sometimes I just want to make this point because I talk about a lot of different issues, and the society we live in, at least from my vantage point, we like to attack one another very easily because we disagree on something. And I always like to take things a little bit deeper than that. So when you're giving me more background as to not only why you're here, but some of the reasons why, which I think totally makes sense, I hope people can appreciate what you're saying, because it's not like you are not putting yourself at risk. you're speaking to what you believe to be true, and I would say I think you guys deserve to be supported. It doesn't mean that sometimes I think just because you come from a certain place, we like to, what we say, broad brush people. Oh, they're all like that. And I don't believe in that. I think that that's very unfair to speak to people that way. So I'm glad that you all are here. Number one, I'm glad that you are feeling better being here, especially for your mental and emotional health. I think that that's incredibly important. And I only hope that it continues, the longer that you stay. Olga, what about you though? What caused you to come here? Anything you want to add to that for yourself?
Well, for me, it's a bit different in a way that I was not feeling any pressure in Russia, because I was out of Russia since 2016, 16, no, something like this already. So I was already traveling. I did not feel like, it did not feel like I'm a citizen, full citizen, because I would come home from wherever I am, from like different jobs, and I would ask my mom like, what's new, what's different, like different laws, different struggles, and every time it's just like some not really happy stuff happening, this and this, and like people struggle and everything. And for me, like I'm always on the positive side. That's just like who I am. Like, even if I feel depressed, it doesn't last really long. Pass really quick, so I'm trying always to look at the bright side. So
she doesn't believe in depression as a disease.
And listen, it can happen, but it looks different in different people.
Yeah.
And we want to be sensitive to those that experience it, because it's very.
I believe that people believe in it. So anyway,
you see that? Yes.
I'm arguing with you. So not trying to change your mind. Anyways, so for me, it's always funny when people ask me something about Russia, like how people there. Because and I give them like the good side, and they come back to Russia. I'm like, I'm a liar. I'm a liar. People struggle a lot. I'm like, oh, it's great. Russia is great. Russian people, food is great, which is true. Mm-hmm. But I don't pay attention to the bad stuff. I also don't know much about it anymore, and I know less. Like I do have the information from like relatives, which are a lot, really a lot. Like I don't know how many nieces I have, but the one I talk to, like they always tell me about struggles. I forget, like when you're not around those things,
of course.
Especially when you in general like content with your life, you're happy, and then you get a call and you hear like people struggle with the health, the mortgage rate, like the credits are crazy, the rip off, and then the dollars drops and the ruble drops, and it's just insane. It's suffocating. Like it's so for me, like I would say Kate got to live her life more fully, like 2 years ago, like let herself do this and this, like drop some of the responsibilities and the luggage. But I did it earlier. And I always, again, had like easier in a way of the stress and stuff. Like I didn't have to raise children. Like when I was a baby, I get to be a baby. So I get to be a child. But I left earlier. And even though I had stressful time in my life, I struggled with this and this. It's not like everything was like, easy. But in general, like I loved my life. And I would come back to Russia just to do some errands, to see my family, to see my friends, eat some food, fix the bank account, or I don't know, like more of a paper thing. So I would come and go for 5 years already, right? So for me, it was a matter of time when I would leave. It just depends on where, and then I get an offer of a job. Like I wanted to go to Asia for a long time, but then COVID came, and the Asia was like everything was on a lockdown.
Right.
Yeah, but after like 2000, when did I go? 2021. Yeah. 2020. Yeah, after everything started to open up again, I went to New York to see my friends, and I stayed there for like half a year. So I went back to Russia, and every time I stayed in Russia, it was like a little bit different. Sometimes 2 months, sometimes like 3 months, sometimes a month. So after 2 months, I'm already like, I want to get out. I cannot be longer there. I had food. I spent time with my mom, with my dad, with my brother, and like I need to go. So for me, it was already that time. Like I need to go. And then I get an offer, and then I asked Kate, and she said yes. So for Kate to be agreed to do something that big, like it took a long time for her. So I was so happy. I texted them straight. I'm like, we need 2 jobs. So they're like, no problem. So we got 2 jobs. We really didn't care where in Thailand, because we never been here.
Right.
They were like for us it was like, okay, whatever it is an experience. We will like settle with a salary and like live in condition. We will work it out. But the first thing, we need to get out of Russia.
Right.
So we get the jobs and we came here, we figure out everything. But I'm so grateful that she left with me. Like, it's unexplainable. There was a time in my life when I wanted to be on my own, like travel, like don't want to wait for anybody. I want to do my thing. I'm impatient in general. But there was the peak of my impatience. Like, I need to do this. Don't want to wait for you. So I'm traveling by myself, meeting people on the way. But then I went, like, I already was going like closer to that. I'm like, I really want to travel with her, because we planned to travel together since we met. Like, we were in university, we would speak how we would go there and then travel. So I'm like, are you ready? She's like, not yet. I'm like, okay, next year. I'll try it next year. And she's like, almost there. I'm like, okay, fine, one more year. I'm like, are you coming? She's like, yes, great, let's go.
And next year came.
Yeah, and we loved it. We absolutely loved it. We had to go back though, unfortunately. It's long story short.
Like,
paper
have
stuff.
to explain.
Yeah. So we had to go back to replace the passport for her again, but So we get back to Russia for a really short time. It was like too long still, and we moved in like to Bangkok permanently. So.
Okay. I'm curious. I want to throw it back to you. So how has the working experience been like? Because even like for me, I've been like traveling, kind of work/vacationing, but you guys actually work here. So how has that been like compared to working, for example, back home?
For me, before the last year, like thinking like the idea of going work as a teacher in China or Thailand or whatever, it was like, okay, first of all, like I won't be a teacher. No, never.
I never thought we would ever be teachers.
Yes, like no teacher, no. Like I was a tutor, but it's not the same as you're working with a full class of students. So I would say no, never. And like the salary was less than I had. Like, I didn't like Thailand. Yes, it would be nice, but like still I had some like vision of like career perspectives in Russia. And like for me it was I needed some stability. But last year, stability, what is it? What the fuck is it? Like, you don't have it anymore. You can't, no.
You can think that you have it.
Yes, you can have like an image of stability, but in reality, no. There's no such thing. So yes, when Olga had a job offer, saying Thailand, because like in mind we had like Europe. But then
we actually thought about Europe, then Latin America, like we are definitely not going to Asia.
Yes, exactly. Asia, no. And then like the job offer popped up, and then Thailand. Okay, whatever, let's go.
We were desperate to get out.
And like for some time, I understood that I wasn't quite comfort with my job. Like I had like great colleagues, like the company, team, everything, but I felt that it's not like I don't do something good. Meaningful. Yes, exactly. And it kept me like some. So, and like working as a teacher, I see meaning. It's
fulfilling.
It's fulfilling, yes, and sometimes. I see, and like it's every day when you see the kids in Thailand, are just great. Yes, they are, and when they're
so loving.
They're so loving when they show like every day they show like so much appreciation.
We have kids who just give us a hug every day, just like for the end, like they can see. They open their literally. We walk to our classroom. They just do like this. One child is enough to just boost you up.
Yes, exactly. So
I don't like my day, not anymore.
You see that you are doing something good like every day. Yeah. Even like you make someone smile or laugh or whatever. Or if they learn some words, wow,
one word, one student like, out of 200. You're like, yes,
yay! Even just a little, but even still, it gives you so much credit. because like yes, you're doing something good.
They're so easy to be around.
Yes, and like the salary, and it's not that important. Still, you see, yes, it's important, of course, but it's not your priority.
It's also, I agree with you. I think I think Americans we have this confused a lot when it comes to work, salary, and fulfillment, which I feel like you guys are talking
shifted
about.
Values, like the money goes.
Well, it's because we're very obsessed with things.
The dream to be a millionaire.
Well, I think it's the idea. I feel like it's what you were saying. It was talking about image and like making the image of stability, like the image of how well off you are.
It's also like some secure. Yes.
I mean, security is important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that everybody wants some degree of security. It makes you feel good. But going back to fulfillment, money doesn't necessarily give you fulfillment. Money can give you access, I believe, to do things that you want to do. That might give you some fulfillment, but I will use myself. Like being a therapist to me is extremely fulfilling because it's the thing that I feel like I am called, I'm drawn to do based on my experiences. So I feel that impact every day when I'm doing it. It's similar to what you're describing with the students. And I think that if we were pulled to jobs or called to do certain jobs, I think that that's actually more important. Salary is important. It's an important component. I don't think it's the most important though. I think it's what you feel like, are you doing something that's impacting people in a meaningful way every day?
But again, if you just focus on finances and everything else is just awful, and then something happens, you lost all your money, I don't know, your house got burned down. It's just, you know, you lost the money that like you killed yourself to get, you know, and you're mentally unstable, you're unhappy, you don't have the life in you to get them back to get like again, you know.
It's hard.
But if you in general you're happy, you already enjoyed the process of making money. You're like, I can just like
there though. See, I like that you said it like that. The process of getting there.
Because the process
Because some of us just want to get there. Like we're hyper focused on.
But you get that.
I want to be here. Like microwave the process already. And that's what I say. No, you have to enjoy and appreciate the process from here to there. Because the end goal actually doesn't matter. Because when you get there, you got to pick something else. It matters what happens between now and then. That's what you're going to remember. That's what you're going to appreciate.
But if you hate it and you lost everything,
what's the point?
I'm just gonna jump off the building.
Like you have like
and then
one life,
and you haven't built any relationship with anyone to give you that energy to support you. No, that's all screwed up.
No, that's why I think that matters. That's why I like the way you were describing the work reasons why you came. I think that to me, for us, I think culturally we have to make a shift in our mind because I think we're so focused on income and salary that we excuse everything else.
Yes.
And to your point, Olga, it makes us so miserable, but that's like the thing we hold on to. It's like, well, I didn't make this much money last year, so I guess it was worth it? Question mark? But not really.
Exactly.
It's not really, but that's what we tell ourselves to try to feel better.
Because it's the only thing you have.
Right.
So like, for example, for now, if like I had an opportunity to come back to Russia and get like much more money, I would say no. I would prefer have less and stay here than live there. And
true, by having less, you have more.
Yes, exactly. Because like your values a little bit.
It's balance here.
Yes, it's a balance with
the salary is not that crazy, but it's crazy for Thailand. Like you can be comfortable. Like if you don't spend that on some shit you don't need. Speaking from experience. Again, she helps me with this.
No, that's fair though. And those things happen. So I mean, I think it's like you said, I think you guys are bringing up a very good point that sometimes we put our value in the wrong things. And sometimes if you're just focused on financial gain, you're probably not going to feel the fulfillment that you would if you thought about the impact that you can have on somebody or towards a goal each day.
And it takes some courage to go and do what you want. Yes. So like Olga is like very
just tell me.
She just do what she wants to do. And like I was
she's more reserved.
Yes, and like in my 20s like yay, let's go. But now no, like I need this and that, but Yeah, now
she's getting better in this regard.
Yeah.
I'm getting less crazy. Actually, no, I don't.
Well, I think also, to be fair to what you were saying, okay, it's normal. I think the older we get, we're going to be a little bit more cautious.
Yes,
like
exactly.
When we're in our 20s, like we're naturally going to be impulsive because most of us only have to worry about ourselves. So naturally, we're like, oh, well, if I want to do it, I'm just going to go do it. I'm going to drop everything and go.
Yeah. You see, it's when you are growing up, yes, you are getting more and more cautious.
Yeah, because you're trying to manage risks too. You're like, I want some things later on in life. Is that really going to help me get there? So maybe I need to make different choices versus I just want to do whatever right now. Let's just see what happens. I think it's just a fact of where you're at this stage in life. It's going to influence the type of choices that you make. So that's a fair point. Now, we're going to pivot a little bit and get to some of the more meatier subjects, because a big part of the discussions I've been having this year, I didn't talk to you guys about this before, but starting at the beginning of this year, I made a conscious decision to engage with more women specifically. The reason why, a lot more. The reason why is because last year I started to say, I don't know if it was like that here. I don't know if it's like this in Russia, but this is what I'll tell you in America. I noticed there's becoming this big divide between men and women. Like, we don't get along, we don't communicate well, we get basically at each other's throats, and so we're not working together. We're not cooperating.
Like in general?
It's been building. Like, if you, and I'm not the biggest fan of this stuff, but if you follow a lot of these things on social media, or if you listen to a lot of these stories, it's a lot of women talking to women, it's a lot of men talking to men, but we don't really talk and listen to each other. But that's been my experience.
Not much men talking to women.
Right.
Oh.
Like, in a healthy way.
Yes.
In a respectful way.
Yelling is fine.
No. So
yelling is common.
So because of that, I felt kind of called to try to become more of a bridge to understand. Because obviously I'm not a woman. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. You're not men. You don't know what it's like to be a man. You can suspect it, but it's different, right? The point was, I wanted to start trying to learn in a more authentic way of what it's like for you all and what it's like for us, and try to have more of that type of conversation, because I think we need this kind of information and content out there, because what I'm seeing, it is bad. It is very, very bad. Like, we don't get along, we do not cooperate, so relationships are toxic, and we can't work with one another because everybody's trying to like beat the other person instead of, how do I learn how to cooperate and compromise? That's a big word. Compromise with somebody. And so I always try to make it an effort, and I have been this year, trying to learn and pick women's brains to understand why you all think the way that you do, and sharing my perspective on what a lot of men think. So that's the premise as we continue. So I want to ask, and I'm going to pivot back to you now, Olga. So can you share for us, up till this point in your life, how would you describe romantic relationships so far?
This is a general question.
Mm-hmm. You can take it as deep as you want to go, or as surface level as you want to go, because we're going to hit it in a couple different ways.
Well, I'm not in a relationship right now, but judging by my, I think I had 3 serious relationships. Again, everything is so relative. You know, some people say half a year is serious, someone say like at least it's 5 years.
Well, it's based on what you think, though. It's your relationship.
Again,
so
okay, fine. So I think, yeah.
I see
Help
her.
me.
Yes,
Help me,
I see
Obi-Wan
her
Kenobi.
growing in her relationship, and growing in understanding of
What I need.
what she wants, what she needs.
Yeah.
So
It's been educating for me.
Yes.
It's been educating. It was never violent. I don't know, maybe because of my self-esteem as a person, or maybe because I got lucky, but I do feel right. Like I do trust my feelings. Like, whatever I feel is usually correct in regards to people. I got it from my mom. My mom, she's like, she doesn't have even to talk to. She can just listen to you for a few. It's crazy. It's insane, actually. She can listen to someone, and if she will tell me I don't like him or I don't like her, she never told me that often. Like, it was a couple of times, but when we would discuss it later, and she would tell me her opinion, this person, everything always fucked up later. like she would know like exactly. She had this like even better than me.
Her intuition.
Her really good. So I trust her. She never pressed me like don't be with this person. That's why I had like experience, like built some experience on my own with like not good friends for me, but now I have an experience. But in regards to relationship, like I never been violated in like horrible way, you know.
And I wouldn't say like you had like bad relationship.
No,
it was just an experience.
It was a good experience.
Like good man,
good people.
It just like it didn't work.
It didn't work out, but it helped.
It worked out for that time.
Yeah.
But
that's not for me. So
it's a process.
It is a process, and the people were different, right? And it just I cannot say that I know exactly who I need, but I know
you have a list.
I forgot about that. She has a list. We both actually have a list.
But we're talking about you.
Yeah, I know. So yes.
Wait. Is this list? Do you guys have this list now?
No. Why don't we have shoot?
But still, like
okay,
yes,
I'm gonna make you guys ask.
We have a bucket list, and it was actually during COVID. We sat down and we made a list for each other for like the men we think we need, and then we made a list of like the things we want from a guy. Like for me, I made it for me, and I made it for her. So like it's the same as with a parent, and you're never 100% sure what is gonna come out of you and how it's gonna be,
right. But
like I know many things that I need, and like I definitely know the things I don't need. So without it, like I don't see how you be ready for your life, or like how can you have a good life without experience, you know?
Of course.
Like traveling, and especially with relationship. But they taught me a lot. The men taught me a lot, and I never even like for a minute thought that they were assholes. You know, we're not together anymore, and I want them die in hell or something like this. So, good man, I haven't found the right person yet, but I feel like I'm usually always open throughout my life. It's not like I'm searching. Like I am on a dating apps, but I'm not like waking up the first thing I do. Right. Okay, 10 people going out tomorrow.
You're making sure that you're accessible to see what could
happen. I'm living my life because you don't know when it's gonna happen, tomorrow or in a year, you know. But if I'm not doing me, and I have like I'm not living my life, and then the person like I don't remember how to live my life, how to be me, you know. So
it's important.
Yeah, it's important. But you meet people, you talk to them. You don't even have to be in a relationship with a man to get some new knowledge. Like you meet someone, you know, you talk, and this person is like this and this, and he says something or does something, and you're like, that's good. We'll put it on the list. Or like, this is not it, you know. But for me, I try to have heart and head together for everything in my life, but I'm more emotional than Kate. Like she uses head more often than I do. Thank God somebody should in our family. And God bless her patience, because I don't have any. So more than now it's like better than before, but yeah, you have to be open. You have to be open and just I don't know. This is pure luck, I think.
Yeah,
this is pure luck. Exactly. Yeah, but you work on yourself. You try to figure out, maybe like have your lists on your wall. That's a good idea. We should put it on.
No, I like the list idea. The reason why I asked you is because I talk a lot about intentionality in dating, and I think that a lot of times, I mean, yes, I agree. You absolutely need experience, because that's how you figure things out and you learn. But I think you need things like a list, and let me clarify. When I say list, I don't mean like 50 items that you have to hit all these things. What I mean is, what I usually start by is I talk about things like deal breakers, the things that you cannot compromise. You're like, I need this here. If you don't have it, we're not continuing. I need that because if I'm trying to date somebody seriously, sometimes because we don't do things intentionally, we're actually engaging with somebody who cannot give us the things that we want, which kind of means we're wasting our time.
That took me actually, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, about the list, like it's not like there are, as you said, like 50 items, or the person should like, okay, you don't match like 39, like you are off the list.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, the list is always changing.
Right.
But it took me the last relationship I think it was like a turning point for me to get really good idea of what I don't need, like to realize why didn't it work out, because some people want, very often actually, I hear people say, we have to love the same things, which is very stupid. Like hobby is the last thing you should worry about, Many people look exactly what they are in a person, which is awful. Like I don't like me, the second me, we will kill each other. We will kill the neighbors. Like we'll drive everybody crazy. You need like your yin to your yang.
You need. I think you need what I would just call diversity of thought.
Exactly.
And I think.
And a deal breaker.
To your point, I feel like you would get bored. Like if you
crazy.
like all the same things, I think
go crazy.
It's more appealing to know. I'm not saying you have to be completely different. You have to have some things in common.
Something.
Of course.
But you also need some things that are different.
Yes, and the deal breakers. Yeah, there are things that like really important. They should not be a lot. I don't think they should be like 20 things that like I cannot bet on those.
I usually say somewhere between 5 to 7.
Yes, I agree.
And that's like maximum.
I agree, because if it's more like maybe you have some issues you need to solve those, so it's gonna be like 5 to 7.
I say it because when I talk about dating, and I'm always trying to get us to talk about compromise, right? And again, going back to this kind of polar disparity we have right now, a lot of men feel like they don't need to compromise on the type of women that they should want, and vice versa for women. And it's not that I'm against people having preferences. You're allowed to prefer whatever you want.
Absolutely.
My point is, how successful have you been? This is a therapist of me talking. I'm like, how successful have you been? And when I say successful, I mean, have you found that thing, and have you kept that thing? And if the answer is no, then my point is, when do you change your strategy? When do you try a different approach to be more successful in the future? Because if somebody tells me, like, we're talking about dating, but we can use a different example. If you tell me you're doing this thing, it has not proven to give you what you want yet, and you keep doing it the same way, in my opinion, that's foolish. Because why would it change? You're going about it the exact same way.
Outcome if
you should expect this to keep happening to you. Like, again, if you don't have a list, and you don't know what your deal breakers are, and you keep saying, why do I keep dealing with the same type of men? Because you keep picking them. You're picking the same type of guy who treats you the same way, which leads to the same outcome.
It's the same if you say like all men are assholes. I'm like, well, here you go.
Right. Which I'm like, well, maybe that's the type of men you've chosen to deal with. It's not actually representation of all of us. It's just the ones that you've dealt with. So that's why I think it's important to be more specific, and again, for us to be more intentional when we put ourselves out there.
Oh, I had 4 relationships. I forgot.
You said you had a 4th one?
4 relationship. I forgot about those.
Okay. But regardless, it's safe to say, you seem like you've been grateful for all of the people that you have been with, and that you've learned a lot from each of them.
And I've like the relationship, like I changed some things I did like myself. Like definitely, and the personalities were different. Like the men were different. They had similarities, but again, like they approach things differently in some ways. Some were similar, but some things you keep, the one you like because that's some like the things that attract you. Usually, for me, there were similarities in a way that we started relationships, so they were similar, but then you go through them, like you progress. I did change, because if the first one didn't work, again, you don't have enough experience. So like you don't know who to look for, so you start with something. Again, since I'm emotional, like the instincts work before my head works. So for me, it's usually physical, like attraction with the men, but it was not like this with all relationships. With some of them, like it was no attraction. Somehow, like we started the relationship. Well, again, that's why there are 2 people. Like have to want this. If one wants less and the other doesn't really try, it may never happen.
Of course.
And like from my point of view, Olga, she doesn't have like an issue that she needs to resolve. Like she needs like one type of man. Like yes, no. It's just a self-exploring way, like to understand what you want, what you don't want, and just process, just
She
like,
can give.
No, I mean that's good.
it's not an issue for her, like
We used to joke that she's my personal therapist. With my first relationship, for me, maybe because my parents fought, like I didn't analyze it much, but I preferred to work out our issues like in between us. I didn't feel good to discuss things with my girlfriend, not because I don't love them and I don't trust them. It just felt like a little bit of a betrayal of him.
I like that you said that.
You know, so because again, like I didn't want them to think bad of him, even though it was just worse. You know, we had like just fights, but not like killing each other. Or fighting.
It was not
just like
something,
just
ordinary things.
Just ordinary things, just issues or something we did not agree. So I would always, because I have a really good imagination, so I always use it for all the situations. So I'm always trying to find the ways. And it took me, I don't know, I think after half a year of our relationship, I came to talk to her, maybe even a year. Like even like it's not that we had a lot of issues at the beginning, but we did have them, try to solve them. But it get to the point when the outcome would always the same. Like I would be the wrong one, and it was never like this until him be like I would never be at fault. I'm also like I was a mischievous child, but I made sure nobody knew what I've done. So I would never get in trouble. And first time in my life, I'm always wrong. Like something is not right. Otherwise, I would not have a good friends. And because with my friends, again, we never fight. We really rarely fight. It's not like we will be mad at each other for 10 days, not talk. We don't really have it. Like I talk through stuff. If I'm mad at someone, I make sure she knows or he knows. So I'm like mad. I'm not wasting my time just being mad by myself, you know?
But that's important, and I like that you said that, because I think sometimes we intentionally or unintentionally involve too many people into our relationship, and it's not to say you're not allowed to get perspective.
No,
and I don't think you're trying to say that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get too much perspective,
yes,
and it ends up clouding your judgment,
exactly.
So you don't know how you feel.
Exactly.
You listen to everybody else, and you're like, well, these people said I should do this, so maybe I should, instead of, well, I feel that this is something I can work through. This is something we need to compromise on. And so I think we have to be very careful how much we share, and like you said, and maybe giving that person the opportunity to work it through with you before you get everybody else involved.
Exactly. That's why you have to be selective who you're talking to, because this person, again, as you said, it's difficult to separate your emotions, right? Always, like I'm always on her side, no matter what. Like I have her back. We have stuff and everything, but
in therapy, we call that bias.
Exactly.
You're gonna have a bias for
Exactly. But I would always be honest with her. I'm not gonna be someone who, that dress looks great on you, and it's complete shit. No. No. Like we give each other the courtesy of being honest, and we are never mad at it. Well, we can be mad, but it doesn't affect our relationship. You understand? So the honesty for me is very important. So the reason why I came to her, because she's never easy to judge. Like she's like, her emotions are never high and before her head. She's level-headed. She's also really wise. Yeah, she's really wise. So, and she raised children. Again, she is wise. I think she was born wise and a leader. So sometimes for me, it's just necessary to talk to her, voice out my stuff. She doesn't even have to say most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, I actually fix it. Okay, she's like, okay, pay for my dinner or something like this. But it took me a while. Like I remember we were in a cafe and I talked like for the whole hour because I needed help, because for first time in my life I couldn't figure out what is going on. Yeah, I feel like I'm not happy. Like I'm coming to him with like me being not happy about this somehow, and somehow it gets twisted, and I've done something wrong. Like there was not even an issue. Like nothing was done. Like, you know. So for me, as a first relationship, especially, it was. How did you say there was a?
It's emotional abuse.
Yes, emotional abuse.
Emotional.
Like not to the high degree, but he was like, he's older than me. He's older than me, so he had experience definitely, and he's a smart guy.
I forgot the word.
Yes.
Yes. Because
You know what I'm talking about.
when
There is
you're
a word
saying
for
that
it.
something is not, something is wrong, and the
Yeah.
other person say no, it's everything is okay. it's your
Oh,
imagination.
Yes.
gaslighting.
Yes,
Yes,
gaslighting. Yes,
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. Keep forgetting that word. So there was like this, and for me, like with all my optimism and like energy and everything, like you don't have experience, you cannot deal with this stuff. So she helped me realize that like nobody has to be at fault. Actually, you just need to talk through. But
Yes.
sometimes for people, it's again. For some man in Russia, like, and he's the type of like man, maybe like keep your stuff together, macho man. Yes, exactly. He's strong person, confident, like good for relationship, but not willing to bend and compromise, as you said. Easier to make me guilty, like which was like one of the
Or trying to
breaking
pull,
points.
which some people do too, or just trying to pull you to the other side.
Exactly.
Like not respecting your position. Like I always like to make this point when we talk about compromise. It's like I'm here, you're here. We're trying to get somewhere in the middle, meaning both sides don't really feel like they won, but both sides are willing to be okay with it. But some people are just trying to pull the other one to their side, which that doesn't work for the long term because that's not actually compromising. Because sometimes you're actually dismissing the person and how they feel, and that's gonna over time they're gonna feel minimized. Like they're gonna feel like, well, I guess my thoughts and my feelings don't really matter because you don't really allow them to have weight in our relationship.
Yes, so eventually everything built up at you, and it ended up you being so mad and angry. Still, you cannot explain why because you don't know, because you don't understand. So she and I had another friend. We're not friends anymore. That's a different story. But also, like I had another friend from the high school, and when I told him, like I gave him from my side the situation.
So he's a guy.
Yeah, he's a guy. So he actually was my first really good and real friend, and he like went for university in another city, so he would come back like for the summer. And he came back actually when the issues started to come up with our relationship. Yes, and I had like several examples of the conversation with my ex, so I gave him several examples of me being at fault.
Yeah.
To give and he said to me, it was crazy. He said, well, actually everything you just told me is what makes you. So, and I'm like, oh, now that makes sense. He does not accept me for being me. So
that's a big one.
Yeah. So he didn't even, him and and Kate, they didn't have to tell a lot. So they just have to be friends, and observe it,
I agree. Kate, same question. How have the relationships been for you so far?
I'm more of a theory person than practice.
Okay.
I don't have like a lot of experience.
Not like this one.
No, because not because I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't meet my person, I would say.
Okay.
And I'm not very emotional, as Olga said. So for me, it's not easy to fall for someone. To open up, and for example, usually I see when for example a good guy, but I'm seeing that it's not gonna work, so I won't start it. So
or you think
maybe a little bit of a pessimistic outlook.
No,
maybe realistic
but
in her
yes,
reality.
also I follow my heart, or just feel my guts. So for example, yes, I feel that something is not okay. It's wrong. And really, I wouldn't say that I was in love, really, in love. No, I don't know. I'm just like that. It's not for me.
And she doesn't have a shortage of the experience of male friendships. She has a lot of friends. She's really good friends with.
I wouldn't say a lot, but I have good male friends.
Yeah, and she's friends with the husbands of her girlfriends. She has a good relationship with
those men.
Yeah, even sometimes she knows the couple from the very beginning, maybe classmates, but sometimes she met the guy through the girl. And again, it's difficult not to be a good friend with her.
And maybe in theory, just because like I know what I want, and like I know some like, because I know what I want, I just don't do it, like don't go, don't no, I mean like I don't just, some girls they constantly need a guy by their side. I'm not that
Some
type.
people.
I'm like, if I
like you're comfortable being independent on your own.
yes, exactly, and I that it was always like this. So like yes, so
For
like,
both of us, actually.
yes, but like I mean, and for example, like Olga, she like met guys she fell in love with, and I just didn't meet the guys like with like really that I really liked so much that I wanted like no, I had attempts, but no. I think that I sometimes chose men that because like some insecurity, and like because yes, I didn't want to have children, so like I knew that like in general I don't want like to have like very strong and like long-term relationship. So I chose some men that were not affordable. Okay, it's okay to say affordable. like I mean like married guys, or like
no, they weren't available. They weren't emotionally available.
Not emotional, but like in future that I understand
would
that
not be attached
it's
to
okay to have like a relationship, but not strong, but not like serious relationship.
No,
it was safer for me to have that.
Right. Okay, hold on. Let me ask you a question, and then I want to address that by giving an example. First, just to make sure we check for the audience, can you say how old you are?
35.
You said
32.
Thank you.
She always forgets.
Yes.
Okay. All right. No. Now I want to relate something to you. So in a recent episode I posted, I was talking to these two young ladies who are in their early 20s, and one of them specifically, we were talking about, or she was telling us about how her mother, grandmother, and her aunt were telling her since she was young how to be cautious about men. And so I learned by talking with her was that she chose emotionally unavailable men because it seems like as she was growing up, she was taught to be afraid of men. So it made sense that she chose the type of men that she chose, because deep down she didn't really want to commit to them because she was still secretly afraid of them, right?
That's so sad.
The reason why I bring that up to you, what is interesting, I'm not saying that this is the same story, but I'm thinking about what you said to me so far. You said dad was not very present. You said mom wasn't very present as well, but that's because they were working. And then you and your sister were being caretakers of your brothers. So part of it makes me think that, you know, you already talked about how you kind of missed that type of connection with your father because you said he didn't really pay attention to you as much. The thought that I have, I'm not saying this is true, but the thought that comes up for me is that you got so used and accustomed to being independent when you were very young that like it's hard for you to allow yourself to maybe be vulnerable with men.
Yeah.
So as you've gotten older, and the longer you do it, the more comfortable you get.
Yes.
So that as you're getting more older, it gets harder and harder for you to put yourself out there and actually allow a man to genuinely get to know you.
Especially when you're so comfortable being on your own. Like all the things are covered. Like you have a place to live. You know like, how to be you.
Yes, you don't have needs that you need to.
Right. Like you don't need him to come in there and like, hey, help me with housing, help me with food. You have all the basic necessities and probably some additional.
And I feel for kid is like something of a new thing, because when you don't have the male presence all the time, so you don't know how to make space for him, and also if you don't have a habit of dating, again, how do you approach? This is like the first step. First, like you need to like someone enough to go out with a person, right? You need to make an effort, but it's like everything. It's like a circle. You don't have a habit. You don't have a habit of doing it at least a little bit, or like a lot enough to like put on those shoes. You know, go out. So it's not that easy. So
Absolutely.
it does sound easy for some people, but for some it's not. It's not only like get dressed, it's mentally like, what do I say, like this, how, like, do I look good, usual girl stuff.
I think the mental is actually harder. I mean,
Exactly.
physically it's difficult too, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But I agree with what you're saying. Like,
But-
it's hard to, like I think you said it very well, Olga. You have to learn to hold space for somebody else. So I'm so used to doing everything on my own, I don't need anybody else. And
I might need, but I don't know how to do it.
well, some people say that, right? But the reason why I use the word need is because, and I'm going back to my previous point, in American culture, that's a source of conflict. There's this ongoing like debate about independence.
The women can do everything.
And I don't need men, or I don't need a man. And what I say as a man is I respect that. Like, I respect a woman who's like, I have my education, I can take care of myself, right? But I'm gonna go right back to the point you just mentioned though. But in order for me to build a relationship with somebody, I have to create space for you to want to be around me, to get to know me, for me to learn about you, so that I can care about you and maybe love you one day. But if everything comes down to like, what can you do for me type energy, and I'm not saying you said that, that's the kind of conversations that we're having right now. It makes it very difficult for people to come together, because it's like, I don't have space for you because all these criteria are already met. So what can you do for me? Nothing. So I'm just gonna stay to myself. And then I think that keeps people lonely.
I think from our perspective, the thing is like we're not looking for a man like to fulfill some needs.
Sure.
We okay. We want a man, like we choose a man because we want
To have
him in
as
our
a
life.
human being, not as
Yes.
like a cow.
Just a human being, a partner, lover, a husband, or whatever.
Not because
So-
we're lonely and
because
we don't wanna
yes,
choose ourselves.
so it's not like we want to get married, so we're looking anyone
Sure.
to get married.
We
first
can have
we-
standards.
I think it's actually I think it's easier to find a partner
Yeah.
if you look for a financial stuff. It's easy. Find somebody with money. You don't care about you know what I mean?
Or if you want to get married, just find
Yes.
a person who can
Everybody
be a
know how to
husband.
have
No.
children. You have sex. You get
So-
pregnant. You know.
The purpose is not fulfill something. Yes, build a family,
Like basic financial stuff.
get married or whatever. It's from another
It's
point.
more.
So yes, you meet the person and then you want to have it with him.
Sure.
So that's
Absolutely.
what we are going.
And it's harder.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
It is.
It's much more because it's basically
It's
like
more complicated.
it's basically like, so like to meet someone and get a connection, to like someone, you need like some, there should be like some 10,000 or whatever criteria that should match. So you and the other person will have a match.
Right.
So
No, I agree. No, and I think to your point, I think it is challenging, but on a good thing, when you have yourself situated, like you're stable in all parts of life, I think you take a more critical look at the type of people that you deal with,
Yeah,
or the type of people that you go for, or people that approach you. I mean, to put this out there too, men, obviously, like, we're not used to women approaching us. We usually do the approaching. So you are putting yourself out there hoping that, that she'll give you the opportunity. But going back to your point, I think that instead of thinking about it in terms of, because again, I know people get very fixated on words. Like when you say need, I like to define words because people get caught up on what you mean when you say these things. I would like to use the term enhance. So instead of thinking it in terms of, I need this person because I'm deficient, I can't do it by myself, because that's sometimes how the conversation goes. How about we say, if I had another person, if I had a partner, they would enhance the quality of my life. Because yes, is my life good on its own? Sure, it's good. Would it be better if I had somebody who I could build with, that I genuinely like to be around? Yes, it would fundamentally be better.
Exactly.
Maybe it's just the way we're framing the conversation. But I think that's where we kind of get caught. It's like this dilemma of female empowerment, which I am thoroughly in support of, and at the same time, what can you provide for me that makes me even want to give you the opportunity, which is how a lot of men feel. It's like, well, you're not really holding space for me, so what am I supposed to do? I don't even know how to approach you, which we're going to get into that in a moment. I don't even know how to approach you or what to say, because the things that I think that you might want to do with me or might want to learn about me, it doesn't seem like you have room for me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I think, and again, this is why we have to have the conversations, and this is why it's hard. Because some of us are kind of approaching dating like this. We're very much like, my life's going like this, and my life's going like this. And if you can't find a way to fit in here, then bye. And I'm like, that's not how relationships work.
Yeah.
You can't, nobody's gonna 100% come your way. Again, compromise.
Nothing started yet, you already have demands.
Right.
How's it gonna be?
You have to make room for each other, so that way there is at least an opportunity to get a connection, to develop one over time, to see if they can become your partner for the long term, for whatever it is that you want.
And again, if you feel deficient, maybe buy some vitamins. Don't go dating people, Eat more carrots.
Or crazy idea, what I would say, go
Sleep
do some
more.
therapy. Like, go figure out what's going on with why you feel that way, and then
figure out,
help you understand what it is that you're looking for, to the points you both are making.
Yeah, don't
So when you sit down with somebody, you can tell them more clearly, this is the direction I think my life is going in. These are some of the things that I desire for my future. What do you want for your future? See if there's like alignment. Do we even want the same things? Going back to the deal breakers, so that way we don't waste each other's time. Or we figure out, man, we align on really important things that we both want. I need to let this explore a little bit more. Maybe there's something really here.
And you don't find someone just to blame on your issues, So,
Right.
And then you get like children. One of the reasons, like, it's crap now. We're gonna get married, everything get better. I'm like, how?
No.
How?
And then we're gonna have kids.
And then it's gonna change. I'm like, how?
How it's gonna get better?
I don't
You know
see
why? You know why?
It's
you know why? Because a lot of times folks get caught up with distractions. They just want a distraction. It's the same way.
Yeah, and kids are really good distractions.
Oh yeah. They'll distract
That
you
is not
from
good
taking
kind of
care of
distraction.
yourself and taking care of your relationship.
Yeah.
And which is why statistically it doesn't improve the outcome of marriages working out just to have one child or two children. It's not going to make it any better, because the root problem is still sitting there. Maybe we don't communicate. Maybe we have grown apart. Maybe we need to reconnect, but we're not doing any of those things. So we shouldn't be surprised that we're still drifting apart, that we're still disconnected.
Spread this stuff like a disease onto your children.
Right, because we're not thinking about that. Now, let me ask you to follow up on this thought, just to see if there is any differences, because maybe there is. So we've been talking about how your relationships have been. Have you noticed any differences doing it here in Thailand versus back home in Russia?
I don't think we have enough information to build up statistics.
Yes.
No. Just anecdotal experience, just from what you've experienced so far. Have you noticed anything significantly different, or anything that you just noticed like, wow, that's interesting? It doesn't have to be. It's just a genuine question.
Yeah. Well, I do have 3 countries to compare, like Russia, USA, and Thailand. Thailand not much, because I haven't dated much, but and I worked on a cruise ship, so I don't know if it puts me in like different countries, but definitely many international, nationalities. So I think it's lazy here.
Okay.
If I won't take like the fact that I don't really have a lot of experience yet going out, I can judge by the replies in Hinge, like in the app.
Okay.
So I would say in Russia are people so used to many attractive women who are actually have low self-esteem. We have a lot of examples of the guy doesn't look like anything and the girl is gorgeous and she's like, I don't think I'm good enough. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
And the man is thinking,
and
I'm just
I'm not saying that you have to look certain way, but sometimes it's not a bad thing to actually look in the mirror and compare your looks and what you have with your list of demands.
Of course. No, I would call that being realistic.
So when I came back to Russia, like I don't think I went out with the guys in Russia on my breaks, coming back to see my family and everything. Like I get so disgusted. I'm not saying, again, it's a general information, right? I'm not saying like
it's
Russians,
from your, remember, this is from your
exactly,
experience. You can
exactly.
speak to your experience.
Nobody should take it personally. So I think Russians are great. girls and boys, and I think Russians like can be really great husbands, like really super. Again, I have relationship like I had with Russian men, like I know the benefits and I know them. But coming back to Russia, every time like I look through the profiles, right? I see the information. Every time I come back, I'm like, this is getting worse. They have so many demands. Like it's ridiculous.
Can you give me any examples
Okay.
of like what?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's really little information about the person, but it's a lot. Okay, you have to be
Blah blah blah.
you
blah, blah,
yes,
blah, blah.
you have to be beautiful, slut in a bed. You have to have an education. That's what I like. Like you have to have an education. So you have to. I'm like, who will put up with your shit? If she has at least 2 educations, like she has this stuff, she will not go out with you. Like I will match this criteria. Like I'm not, so many demands. And you look at the pictures, you don't even have like a good picture of you. Like you don't even put an effort in
just put a
showing
selfie.
yourself. Yes.
Put an awful.
I don't know,
selfie.
an ear and a piece of your chick. Like what are we, like what the hell? And then they don't put an effort into conversation at all.
Okay.
Sometimes like for me, I like to experiment. I will write all kind of stuff. Like I can say, hi, how are you? Or I can just like random things. I also like to read the literature on like relationship and everything, went through like courses. And if they have some practices, you can do like, try this and this, like I like to try it out to see the like,
How do they respond?
yeah, exactly. They're so lazy. Like even for me, like the basic thing, right? Is to go out, have dinner. Like this is a minimum, right? People do talk and they eat. But this is not something like you don't have to say. It should be kind of given, In order to have something, you have to you have to make an effort.
Sure.
It's ridiculous. It's late. It's 5. I don't even. This makes me so mad. Like even remembering about this. So lazy. Like in comparison to USA, I think now like you saying about the problems you're facing, like the gap. The gap and the demands and everything. It helped me to realize I'm going through the days I had. I actually went on so many days in USA, like more than I went out more often in 2 months than I had in all of my life. Kate will not let me lie. Like I don't usually like to go on a dates. I don't like people being uncomfortable. I don't like uncomfortableness in general.
Sure.
Like I don't understand why people struggle to say I need to go pee. I don't feel like something wrong with my, people are so
because people
uptight.
I think it's in the beginning because people are thinking about being on their best behavior.
Again,
like, and
again, the man being a man and a girl being a girl, being a free, all those stuff.
Yeah.
They're just like they're pressing on you so much. You don't even feel confident enough to go out and pee because you don't want to. I don't know what you don't want to, to look like. So and. I don't know. I never felt the need to have a partner by my side all my life. So I'm like, with me. If I'm lucky to meet someone and have a relationship, great. But I'm not always in a search.
Sure.
But I think the first time I lived in New York, it was so different the way the guys texted me in comparison to Russians. So much initiative. Yeah. I think it makes sense. Also makes sense the behavior. Again, I haven't met any assholes. Like I haven't. Great people, like smart men, interesting men. Also been approached so much. Industry sometimes is too much, but okay, I understand. I mean, look at me. but the days it was such a that's the reason why I went often so much. First of all, like I'm in contact with some of them, like we remain friends, but it was so interesting, that the guys, they had so much.
Keep going. I'm just checking something.
Oh, no problem.
I'm still listening.
They were just so enthusiastic, interesting, and you cannot not appreciate the effort. And a man, especially, like as a girl, maybe we're supposed to expect something.
I think they were they're just like more easygoing.
But also the conversations were so interesting. For me, I don't have a habit of texting a lot. I also like, if it's interesting, let's meet. Like, it's so much better. But even the conversation, they were so interesting. Again, New York is a melting pot. There are so many different.
Yeah, you're lucky. I never lived there. I've only visited, so I'm sure you have a nice diverse group of people.
Like it's a great city to meet so many people, and like for me, it was like it's always easy to filter people through the messages. Like I already know, like just unmatch, you know. Yes, I'm guilty of unmatching people without saying anything to them. I just don't like to waste my time sometimes, but sometimes I do say like it doesn't work out. But sometimes like I had dates when guys get so excited. Now I see maybe to have like a good conversation, because for me it was like it's a good conversation. We're not assaulting each other. Like he got so excited. He built half an hour. He made so many plans for us. I'm like, I haven't even had my tea yet. Calm down.
No, wait. Let me speak to that though. You know why I think that probably happens though, and I won't speak for Russians because it sounds like Russian men probably have a different experience than American men. A lot of American men are struggling to have dates. They're struggling to date. They're struggling to have partnerships and relationships with women. So he's probably quite eager to match with somebody, to talk to somebody who's genuinely interested, because he's probably gone a long time either not going on dates or going out with people who are not genuinely interested in him. That would be my thought.
Yeah, for me, I have a really good friend in New York. She has a nail salon, and I love doing nails. So I sometimes work in there. You know, it's a good place for me to do like handmade stuff, which I love, and to again get an experience of meeting different people. And again, mostly there are girls. So I had experience of going out on many days with really good guys, and experience of girls bitching about being guys being assholes. I'm like, I don't understand. Well, also I do. I heard so much crap from girls. So many issues. Like I also have friends, Americans, again, boys and girls. Like I get different perspective. Like it's so interesting. But again, the communication is the key. And in America, the land of freedom, again, so much freedom that you don't feel free to express yourself. And you do have those touchy things that if the guy pays for me, I'm a less of a woman. I'm like, how? I don't see the logic.
Because that's a very sensitive thing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a very sensitive subject because some people...
Again, it goes back to the self-esteem.
Well, I think what happens is we're having this kind of internal debate right now. When I say we, I mean men and women. Of women feeling, this has been my impression from talking to women, of feeling that they're finally able to like assert themselves as equals to men, and men feeling like because of the way a lot of women are choosing to do it, it's essentially pushing men to the side, saying like, you're no longer going to oppress us anymore. So what happens is it kind of comes across as not just that you don't want us or need us, but we need to get out of your way, or we need to find a way to fit ourselves into your life, which turns a lot of guys off.
Sounds so miserable.
Right. It turns a lot of guys off because they're like, that's not the way we were raised to try to approach women in the first place. So it completely is throwing off the whole ecosystem of dating and relationship building.
Exactly. And again, it's my perspective, right?
Sure.
My family, like men were providers. So we did have those
the gender roles.
Yeah, the gender roles, like the women, they do the house and cooking, which my mom actually likes, but she didn't realize she likes cooking because she had to. You know, it's very different when you have to do shit.
Of course.
And then you have a choice. Like, I actually love cooking.
Of course.
But
people like choice.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of so. When you said that the guys have to like accommodate, you know, women, and like the women have to be able to feel that they can do everything, and you know, it kind of contradicts the things that, like, if you can do everything yourself, what will he give you? Like, what's his, like, how will you make him important?
That's a beautiful question you're asking.
Right. It's like, how am I less for you providing for me? Like, you happy, you come back home, you made me happy by buying the house. You're happy. It's like a circle, right? It doesn't mean that I cannot make my money, I cannot buy stuff for you.
Sure.
Like, it doesn't make me less. I don't understand how guy, being a gentleman, being like, okay, macho man in a good way, open the door and pay for things.
It's not macho man, it's gentleman.
Gentleman. No, I'm also mean macho man.
I would say some people would qualify it that way. They would characterize it as that now.
Macho man?
No, yeah, because I've heard some women say
like, I can pull up my own chair.
Yeah, like oh yeah, that, and they'll say like you talked about paying for the meal, right?
Yeah.
Some of us were raised like that's what you're supposed to do, but then some women might get offended
by
you doing that.
I know I can pay for my food. I know, like, I brought myself here so you can pay for me and be happy, be able to see that you're able to do that stuff.
Right.
I can do everything myself. I know it. That's why I need you in my life, so we can do something that we cannot do by ourselves. Grow together, push each other limits. Explore world, and just be happy, sharing stuff together. Like, how am I less? I don't understand.
Kate, do you have an answer to that question?
No, we just have like a little bit different perspective with Olga. No, I'm just looking for like a person who I'm interested in being with. Like, I'm not just a guy to be with.
Right.
And like I don't mean that it's okay. I can pay for my dinner. So it's not like critical for me for the guy to who takes me on a date, like, to pay and for whatever. Okay, it's not okay because like I chose to come.
Right.
I chose to come. Like so yes, it's nice if you pay, but it's not like critical. So if he wants to share the bill, okay, because like because like yes, like I don't like to owe something to
How's
someone.
the view of something? It's a food.
No.
It's like, for me, it's like
what kind of food are we
he's
talking
paying
about?
for your time.
Golden Eagle.
Okay, for me, it's like he pays
I want to
for
expand
the
on this because I've heard this one a lot.
He's like, he's paying for your time. And it's like, you see, we were raised like we heard, not like our mothers or whatever said, but
for food.
For food. But I can pay for my food.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if we are friends, yes, and we are going out, we share the bill. Or if you don't have money, I have money, I pay for you. If I don't have, you pay for me.
Right.
So like, why should you pay for me?
It's not the should.
No, that I'm not saying, but you say that the man should pay.
It's that it doesn't make me feel less when a guy wants to show off or be a man, and like how
I mean, it's good when a guy.
That's funny. It's like the same thing you say. I can pay for my stuff. Like I would go out with my friends to pay for everything. I know for sure we have a good time. We will have a good time. But I'm taking the risk and my time. So I'm not even like, this is not like he's losing money. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know how to put it. But okay, continue whatever you were saying.
So like in our childhood or youth, we heard that from media or whatever, or friends, or they're saying like that women allows like give sex, like not give, like yes, they give. Like I don't know how to say it in English, but in Russian we say that that they are simple. So like there was a perspective that you give, but why?
You let him.
Yes, you let him. You let him.
Okay.
But
I see where you're going.
For me, it's not like that. It's I want that. the same partner, yes, in this.
So you give,
I'm doing that because I want to.
No, absolutely.
so you give money, so you don't. So you kind of drop the pressure of having to give him something.
No, you drop the expectation. Because I've heard that specific point being brought up, and I think it's a fair point. And let me try to say this in a different way, because I think that this is a good point. Because men, we don't know what this is like, because men, we're used to paying, we're not used to being paid for. So this is something we have to learn about from women. I have heard from women that they felt that there's an expectation if they go out for a meal, that if the man pays, he should expect something from her. Maybe it's sex, maybe it's some physical act, something, right? And I get that, because I think that that's a fair point. Again, as men, we don't know what that feels like. What I would say, to kind of try to balance it, so it's not this, again, I like to not think of things in extremes. Like, I'm never paying for anything, or you're paying for everything. To say, should there be an expectation that just because I pay for your meal, like you're gonna give me your body? No. That should not be an expectation, to be clear. What I would say is, maybe to try to use both of your points, what Olga's saying, it's good to allow the man, especially if he's kind of been conditioned to treat a woman that way, because he's trying to show a sign of respect.
Yes.
And at the same time, for the woman to feel empowered, to not have to feel like she owes him something simply because he paid for something. What do you think about me positioning the discussion like that? Like, does that make you feel different? Does that bother you the way you already feel about it?
It all depends on person, how he or she sees it. Mm-hmm. For example, yes, for me, I don't want to be obliged. So,
right.
To feel obliged, yes,
right.
to do something. So for me, when I'm not when I don't quite understand if I'm that interested in guy, if I want him to be in a relationship with me, so I want it to be casual. So I want to to be expected to do something.
Sure.
Because I don't know how he
You don't
reacts.
even know if you wanted to go any further.
Yes,
Got
exactly.
Got it.
So I treat them as friends. Because for me it's easier, it's safer, because I don't like to give for example, for Olga it's okay to walk someone, to ghost someone. For me it's not.
No, I
feel
I respect that.
I need to explain. Yes, I don't I need to tell them, because what I don't like. So it's difficult for me. So to give a rejection. Yes. So for me it's easier not to give hopes.
Right. Not false hope.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes men they are pushy. Yes.
Sure.
So sometimes they can be pushy, and if they like you, they're pushing that I like you, you're beautiful, blah 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 blah. But no, I need time. So you can be interested in me, you can show interest, but casual, not being too pushy. Just.
No, I think that's a fair point, because when I'm thinking about it, it takes away when you talk about obligation, it takes away the need for you to have to feel like maybe you don't want to spend time with them after that. Maybe you just want to go out them for lunch or something, and you want it to stop there. Well, if you pay for the meal, maybe you feel like, oh, now I got to hang out with you longer, or maybe I have to go to dinner with you.
Yeah.
Instead of if we split it,
so I can
say, hey,
stand up and
it
go.
was fun, but I don't really want this to continue. Then I can walk away and I don't have to feel bad about it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and for me it's easier. For me it makes much more sense to start a relationship with friendship. Yes, to know each other, to have some time. If I want something serious or meaningful relationship.
That makes sense with the money pay.
Yes.
Because I never have those issues to begin with. In a way that I never feel that I have to give something back. Because for me, the biggest thing I can give you in general is my time. My time, right? Because I brought myself there. So it's big for me.
That's what it should be.
Exactly.
It should always just be time.
So for me.
But you decided to come, to spend time with that person.
Yes, exactly. So.
Well, it's mutual. It's
Yes,
mutual, right?
it's mutual.
We both offer our time
It's mutual.
to be with each other
Exactly.
and see what happens.
It's not like you give him like yeah, okay, you can spend time with me. No,
But you said that you have additional thing that you might be feeling that you need to give because he pays. I don't put that much over
issue.
the money. No, the money are not like something like on
It's
a
just-
high pedestal. You know, it's just
Yeah, just for example, if the man does this, it just gives him more credits.
It's not
That's
like
all.
we have a score on a wall.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, but just
dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
you seem that okay, like he's I would say gentleman. Yes. Like,
No, and I respect
and
that.
like
I respect
if he says okay, let's split, you just think maybe it's okay, yes, but or maybe you just need to look how he treats like if he gives tips or whatever, like or maybe he's just stingy. Yes, so
Sure.
it's another battle for you.
Those
yeah,
are things
so
to look for.
yes, but if he's like very open and like very generous, so just okay,
No,
great
I
plus.
like that. I like that because you're actually, to me, you're getting to my next question and thinking about expectations, and I think that that's important because again, that's something that men like we don't really ever have to think about because we're not in the position as you to, and also to keep in mind, women are the ones that initially reject, right? Men, like we have to put ourselves out there. We have to ask like, hey, you know, you look really nice. Could I take you out sometime? Women get the opportunity to reject, and then even on the date, the woman is usually going to be the first one to reject. And then as it gets longer and longer into a relationship, then, you know, it balances itself out. But I like what you're saying about you don't want to feel like you're obligated to do anything, so you want to make sure that it feels more balanced very early on in the dating process. Now, when it comes to expectations, you guys, we've been talking about the list. I understand you don't have the list, you don't got to break it out. But can you touch on anything that's on the list? Like, what do you expect of a partner if you were going to take them seriously?
I would say respect.
Okay.
Not only to me, but like in general to people. Honesty. It's
Okay.
crucial for me. Like not okay. It's okay to lie about some small things, like so yes, because like we all lie in different ways. But like in something like serious, no. I prefer honesty, even if it's like it could be painful truth, but I can bear with it. So like it's better to like don't underestimate me. Yes, just be honest. So respect, honesty, kindness, also in general, and I would say mature.
Okay. Olga, what about you?
Okay, and also 180 centimeters, like 70 kilograms, and blah blah blah. No, we're joking. Okay, we have also, but yeah, we have some like our types, yes, but it's not that.
It never
important.
hurts
to be attractive.
No. I think that that's a basic
So
necessity.
we're not gonna talk about it because I feel like it's always for everyone. So we'll go for some inside things.
And it just should be a match. Should be a match, but with some core values that you share with.
Agreed.
So yes.
What?
Like in general, your the way you see the world, the way you treat people, the way yes. For me, it's crucial. Because like if the person thinks that killing is okay, I don't see eye to eye with that. So like.
No, but it's
Because
no,
the
but
thing
it's
is-
different because the context is we're talking about a romantic partner though. So
Yes.
friendship and romantic partner is
Yes.
different because the relationship is different.
Because like.
That's a good point.
For example, yes, as Olga said, like, what did you say?
You said that.
No, she's always by my side. And like we had an issue about that because I said that if you're doing something wrong, I will tell you that you are doing something wrong. For me, like, for her, it's important, no matter what is happening, to be by her side. For me, if I'm doing something wrong, I prefer my friends or family would say, no, it's not okay. So, yes, I can be. And that's what my friends say, that I'm always like, honest, even if it's not like. I'm not saying that if she's doing something bad, I'm running. But if she's asking me, or yes, whoever asking me, like, what do you think? I will tell. Or it's like something really bad.
She will not sugarcoat it.
It's good to have people like that in your life, though.
Believe me.
They're gonna keep it honest.
She will not sugarcoat it.
She's mumbling something bad about me.
What is there anything you would add to her list, or anything that's different?
It would be different, definitely. Not too much, I think. I'm on the same ground about the honesty, respect. For me, like, honesty is a sign of respect. Again.
Exactly. Yes.
Sure.
It's a part.
A lot of them, they're interconnected.
Yeah. Because eventually, if there is, I'm not saying about little things. I mean, if you don't like my dumplings and you tell me that like 5 years later, I mean, okay, I love them, so you just suffered 5 years. You could have gone with, you know what I mean?
Right.
But if it's something big, yes, I would be sad, but I would be more sad that you're not happy about being with me 5 years later, you know. So you should have said before, something that
you want to know the truth.
So honesty is definitely like number one thing. Patience.
Because you said you don't have it.
I do. Like, in some sense.
Or maybe it's limited.
But,
I think it's just you just need the right type of man.
For relationship, definitely he needs to be more patient. It's just because I am impulsive. Like, I'm impulsive, so like it's patience / being grounded. You know, being grounded.
Grounded's a good one.
Yeah, level-headed, because like I lack. It's just who I am. Like, I get better. Like, I know my faults, so I'm working on them. But it's something I will always work, because I know.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I need help.
That's good. Guess what? You call that awareness. That's good that you're aware of it.
Definitely. And I would say I would be happy with the guy who can provide for everything. It's not that I cannot provide for myself. It's, I don't know. I feel like the guy would be happy doing
to provide for you.
No, it's just like talking with
probably if you want a traditional man, yeah, he would.
But definitely the guy with his shit together is
exactly. That's what I call mature.
Yes, mature. Because it's not that I'm like unfocused or something. It's like I'm always searching for stuff with his hobby, or like I'm the one, the adventurous one. So the guy should be more grounded to keep me also on earth. But like if he has his stuff together, it's easier for him to like go on adventure with me, you know, because like I'm good at, again, giving a push, like motivation and energy. Like, I'm always with this, but I get distracted. Like, I like so many things. So it's nice to have her to tell me, okay, you know, like, choose the one, even though I know myself what I should do, but it helps when she tells me, like, okay, just choose it. So like, it takes her 3 seconds to level me out, calm me down, and just like send me on my way, do my things, you know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and he needs to be smart. Like, he needs to be smarter than me in some ways, not like in every way, because you cannot just measure those things. But I really like when the guy is intelligent in general, just people, but especially the man, like, so I can learn. Like, I'm not gonna be stagnant. We can discuss stuff. So yeah, mature, self-assured man. And maybe I'm still like debating this, but we should share similarities in the way what we eat. Otherwise, like, unless we have a chef.
But you're good with the
cooking.
With the
Eating everything.
She's very like attentive and caring person. So, like the guy will be very
How did you
happy.
say it?
What?
Overlap.
Because like she really knows how to share love, share her appreciation. So yes, you will be like, you will feel very appreciated and loved.
That's big.
Yes, because like she knows, not like she does it on purpose. No, she's just like this. She cares.
That's like her natural way of being.
Yes, she's paying attention. It's not that she can be an asshole sometimes.
Oh yes, I can be pain
But
in the
like,
ass.
yes.
But I can be really loving pain in the ass. But yes, that's why I have like big gaps between relationship. I think because of me being selective. Like me going on a date doesn't mean that like I'm going crazy and just like, and I'm not selective still.
Sure,
like
sure.
world of full of interesting people. I get excited by like talking with someone like about some interesting things. I get excited really easy. Also can cool down really easy. So if it's just a fling, I will feel it. But for me, like it's like there are, if I love people, like I'm kind of like full on, you know. If there are my friends, I'm the kind of people that they'll give the last shot or something like this. Even at school, a teacher used to tell me like, when you do help like your classmate with a project, the project is amazing. You do it for yourself, it's like half done. Why? You know?
Oh, she's very generous.
Yeah. So that's why like I'm not like physical touch, for example, for me it's difficult. It's not like it's difficult, but I'm not comfortable with people being touchy with new people, you know. Like I'm not talking about children. It's you who is uncomfortable when I'm too touchy. Joking. But like I have the reserves of energy and like particular emotions for a partner or a guy. Like it will come out when I'm like, I know for sure that's the guy. Like I'm not gonna hold back or like doubt myself. Like I'm not the one who second guess myself usually if I feel I do it. So again, I appreciate the honesty. If you're not comfortable, just tell me. You can deal with it. Even if I'm mad for a second, it will not kill you. I might hit you. I'm joking. but I do have a good aim when I throw. Again, I'm joking. But yeah, like I don't have problems with guy being able to provide. But again, I can provide for myself.
Right.
So and if I'm not saying that I'm not paying for anything. If we want to do business together, or if it makes sense to combine forces to buy a house, yes, why not? You know, so like okay, fine. Like when you have this amount of money, fine. Not this. It's just silly.
Okay.
But yeah.
No, I think that's good. I mean, it's interesting, obviously, hearing perspectives, and I like that you guys don't think exactly the same, because I think you speak to different types of women out there. You know, like women don't all feel the same about.
I think it's a good example of like opposites.
Yeah, because like your friends, yes, or partners, you don't have to be like similar. Yes, exactly.
No,
you can be.
Our differences is exactly the reason why we are good together, like as partners, especially when you like live together. Yeah, the guy should be strong enough to get a no and not take it personal, like to let me have my space. When I say piece off, just do it without like, you know, second guessing. She's the only person in my life who can piece off peacefully. Yeah, like if I'm with my family, I always have to keep it. Even if I'm staying at my father's house, like with him it's easier. He lets me have my space, and I don't know. I don't think we ever had like an issues of being like too much together. You know, like we have enough space. But some relatives, some people, like if you tell them just let me be me, like let me read. I don't know why it's so difficult, but people just can't let you be. I'm like, is everything okay? I'm like, yes. Can I remember? I don't know why it's hard, but it's really hard to find personal space. It's really hard to find people who just let you, who just give you what you ask for, even there is nothing to give but your time, you know? And not to be sad. I'm like, how did you manage to make it about you, the whole drama, when I just wanted to read my book in peace for 15 minutes?
Right.
So somebody who is confident enough to not get hurt by little things, you know, mature again. I think it's going to maturity and like high self-esteem maybe.
I like the quote I found recently on Medium that you shouldn't, and I'm still processing it, that you shouldn't work on relationship. You should work on yourself. So if you work on yourself, there won't be like big issues.
Agreed.
I think it's it's reasonable.
Yes, it's reasonable. You have your shit together. It's kind of everything is easier to.
Yes.
You have less things that calls you, but also it should not be hard. You should not feel like. Definitely, if you feel like this when you're coming back home, oh my God, I had I heard so many people just, oh my God, I have to go home. I'm like, this is so sad. Like you should be like, I'm going home, yay, and it makes me so sad to see many people hating their life.
You know what I would say though to both of your points, to hit both of them. Number one, I love what you said, because that's what I say. If you want to be ready for a relationship, you don't have to wait till you get in one. You can be working on yourself now to be ready for it.
And you continue working on yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
and you keep working throughout. You don't stop just because you get there. The second thing is when it comes to when you're going to be ready and who you select. I think it's good to be patient. It's good to take your time, because obviously, you need
not
to
too much. You can hit 16 and you're like, oh.
Well, no. You take your time. You selected to a point. But I think it's important in general to take your time and make sure that you get ultimately what you need. But the point I was going to mention to what you were saying about when you dread coming home, those people don't communicate. The ones that say stuff like that, they're the ones that don't communicate. That's why they dread coming home.
They communicate with their hairdresser.
Yeah, but that doesn't help.
I know.
I gotta fix this one
Yeah.
time. That doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
That doesn't help anybody do anything. So that's not going to answer the question at all. So we can't do that.
No, definitely.
I had a thought, but it's just
Slipped your mind.
yes.
It'll come back.
I'll come back probably later.
Something about so selecting. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not
Very
sure
important
like
selection.
we are selecting. In that way, in the way of relationship, I'm a little bit more emotional, because I rely on my emotions. So
Really?
yes, exactly. I don't know. I want to feel something I want to feel an attraction.
You mean like in the beginning, or you mean the beginning and throughout?
In the beginning and throughout. So I don't choose man because some criteria. I don't select because
your
of
resume.
No.
it should be a match. Yes, because when you meet a person and usually for us, I don't know, for me. Okay, no, for us. For me it takes several minutes to understand if you like the guy or not. If you see
Even if you
can
enter.
it what?
If you into the guy.
Yes, if you're into
can
the
like
guy,
someone, but not
yes,
me.
yes, that way. So I want to to feel the connection or match or whatever. So I don't rely on just criteria. Okay, he's honest, he's respectful, he's
Because
blah
if
blah
you're
blah
not
blah.
into a
blah.
person and the person matches all the criteria,
Then that
It won't last
part
longer.
matters.
Yes.
matter.
And
No,
it won't work.
that's true. It should be, at least to me, physical attraction always comes first, because you have to like what you see. I think men and women both
It
want
also makes
that.
it easier to fix the things.
Of course.
to
I mean,
talk through.
I think that's honest. That's why we have to keep working on ourselves, because you got to maintain attraction. It doesn't just magically stay there. But the part I like, and the reason why I brought up the list, is because if you don't have that, then you're not looking at the things that keep you in the relationship, because physical attraction is only really powerful in the beginning. Then it's it still has a role, but it sort of drops down over time, because you get used to the person. So if you don't have those other qualities and values in common, you're not going to keep working on the relationship, because you're only fixated on, wow, she looks great, wow, he looks great, and then after that fades, now we have nothing else there keeping us there.
Absolutely.
So there has to be, to me, there's a combination of the two, but yes, physical attraction to me, without question, is always going to come first, because we all have eyeballs and we see what we like, and we build from there. So, but I think you guys did a great job kind of dissecting that. I was going to ask other questions, but you kind of answered them all in one take, which is great.
In advance.
No, because those are a lot of things that men, we genuinely are curious about, and a lot of us are, especially younger guys, intimidated to ask these questions because they're afraid of rejection to find out. So I'm taking it upon myself to try to ask these questions so that maybe people can learn not only how to ask, but then maybe there's more in common than you probably thought. So don't be afraid to speak up and talk to somebody.
Rejection won't kill you. As long as you like, you can work on your confidence and everything. So maybe it's as simple as that. Just keep it in mind.
And just take it easy. Just like no pressure. So
many people around.
No expectations, no pressure.
Honestly, there are, again, just talk to each other because there are so many good people around. I agree. Great. I mean, if you keep saying assholes on beaches, you're gonna get them.
Oh yeah.
The universe is listening.
Or if that's all you keep picking, or allowing into your personal space.
Exactly.
Then you're gonna have this kind of twisted worldview that that's all that's out here. Is these type of people. So I guess I should just keep to myself, which I think it distorts people's reality. It makes them kind of, I would say, become cynical, and they say, oh well, that's when they might say, I'm better off by myself. If that's all that's out there, I'd rather be by myself than have to go put up with that, which I think is fair.
So that's why it's good to have like good examples. For example, I have friends, couples, like they're like great examples. Together. So like for me, it's like either like this way or no. So like examples of how it should be in my perspective.
I think it also is good to find what you can do to cheer yourself up after rejection. You know, so it's the same. Like it doesn't have to be only about like a relationship, but in general, when you said you don't know what to do to cheer yourself, right? Well, I hope you do.
That's why you should have friends.
That would help too.
Yes, it will help. But if you rely only on yourself, you can still find the ways. So it's like
just self-protection.
Yeah, it's like when in sales, you know, they teach you like you do this, and then they will say, no, okay, there are certain ways you can follow. Right. You do the same for yourself with a relationship. Like you, whether you want it or not, you will have a little bit of expectations. You will expect yourself to enjoy your time, at least, you know.
I agree.
So, but in case if it falls through, don't spend 1 hour thinking what you're gonna do if it will fall through. But just have a little backup, you know. I will go back home and I don't know, watch the movie I love that cheers me up all the time. I'll go home and just stroke my cat, you know, something that will help you to go through this. Like immediately, you keep this image in mind. You're like, enjoy your life. I hope you will find
helping you with bouncing back, so that way, you know, maybe you're not quite so devastated.
Like I'm not less by anything, you know. Like thank you for your time and everything. Like doesn't make me less of a man or a woman.
I respect that.
So I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
I agree.
Give yourself time to heal.
We keep taking the chances because it's important. That's how, in order to find somebody that we want to build with, we have to be willing to slowly keep putting ourselves out there.
What's the point? Create the opportunity. What's the point of living your life if you're not really living? You know? Just being afraid.
I agree. See, you're doing a good job. See, you're walking into my last point, or last question/point. And what does the future look like for you moving
Very
forward?
bright and cheap.
If you stick by my side. But we have only the best expectations that no matter what, it will be good and it will be great to have a loving husband, children, family, but the world won't crash if
we won't have this. As long as we do what we do now, we'll be fine. Because we are happy now. There is no reason why we shouldn't be happy in 5 or 10 years or 15 years. I mean, we talked about things like you lose people in your life, right? Again, like people die and things happen. Like to lose parents, it's natural. Doesn't mean like it's not sad, but again, like that's why you have to spend time with people, so you like always have people around you who love you, right? So do you just enjoy your life? Don't be an asshole all the time. Do something that makes you happy. If you do something that makes not only you happy, well, good for you. You know, you get more stuff from it. But explore yourself, because learning new things about yourself helps you to learn new things about other people, and actually, you know, new things. It's all about experience again. So that's why sometimes it's difficult to go out on a date, because we enjoy so much the life we already have. You have you're happy, so it's easier for you to enjoy your life since you've already been doing it, you know.
Yeah.
So you have things to do. That's why when people say I'm so bored, I'm like, I get it, but I don't. You know, I can be bored because I'm lazy.
Right.
That's another thing. Like, I'm so bored, but I'm also so lazy, so I need to get bored a little bit more. So we'll stop being lazy.
Right.
Get up
and
and
then go
actually
do something.
Yes, but come on, you should be damn stupid to not being lazy and find the opportunity not to be bored. You know, sit in a chair, use Wi-Fi, and the laziest thing, you know, to enjoy something like from your laptop or phone or anything. But as long as you.
Oh no, you're judging.
I'm judging.
Not me. People.
Saying people for being lazy.
Not for being boring.
Oh, boring too?
For being
For
bored.
being bored.
For
For being bored, yes.
Being bored. I'm also the one who likes to be lazy. Like, I'm guilty as charged. We
It
are
happens.
gods of being lazy, or goddesses. I don't know. We like, when it was COVID, my God, I don't even want to tell.
But that was difficult for a lot of us. A lot of us,
Yeah.
our options were very limited. For the most part.
You
for
limit
what
yourself.
you could even do.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying you couldn't do anything, but I'm saying to be fair to people.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of things you couldn't even go out to go do. So
Okay,
it's hard.
fine. Like, you cannot choose where you come from, right? Family and
Right.
things, and like you are limited to a certain point. But once you get older, and again with the information you can get easily, like, it's really hard to find an example when you can excuse yourself for being bored and lazy, especially when you have people who don't have legs, hands, and manage to be champions in a sport. You know, it's really difficult to bitch about something like, oh, I'm so bored, I'm so sad, I'm so fat. That's it. Like, it's
You
know.
You know the point that you're making, though. I agree with your point. What's difficult about it is people always tend to take for granted things that are expected.
Exactly.
So it's like for example, when you get ill, you appreciate your health. But when you have your health, you don't say like get up every day, like, oh man, I'm so glad. You just expect that you're going to be healthy. So if you lose a limb, if you lose your arm one day, then you appreciate your arm. But when you have your arms, you're not like, oh, I should lose my arm and then I'll appreciate it. You expect that those things are going to be there. So it's hard for people to, I'm not saying they shouldn't learn to, I call that complacency. You have to fight complacency. The thought to not be better, to not strive to do better, to not try to grow in some area of your life.
Communication.
It's hard for people to do that because we're creatures of habit. We get used to things and we just kind of stick to doing them. But we should push ourselves, I agree, in many different parts of life to fight that, because especially in relationships, that can be a source of friction between two people. They're like, hey, I feel like I'm growing here and I feel like you're not. You're just kind of stuck here and I'm trying to go over here. I would like for you to come with me. And I think sometimes, that might be the natural course of that relationship, but it's a very natural thing that all humans go through, and it's very hard at times to fight that feeling. But we do have to learn how to.
Yeah, that's, again, communication is the key. You go talk with different people, see different examples, like, he doesn't have a hand. Like, just basic thing, like, I really appreciate my hands now. Simple, like, not the best example, but it helps. Like, for me, Kate said once that some people had to go through shitty experience to learn the lessons. Other people,
a lot of us do.
Other people,
a lot of us do.
Yeah. For other people, it's enough to see other people's examples and know that
This is true too.
I don't need to go through this to understand that it's bad for you.
I agree. See, what I would say is, to me, there's a lot of us have, not every person, but a lot of us have elements of both. Some of us are wise enough to learn from other people's experiences, but some things we do have to learn, what I say, quote unquote, the hard way.
Yes.
Usually it's things like relationships, dating, heartbreak, stuff like that, because we don't want to listen, or we think we're special, or we think nothing's ever going to happen to us. Right, we're too smart. And then it happens. And then hopefully you take a step back and you learn from that experience and you do better the next time. But I do agree with you. In a perfect world, we would all learn from somebody else's mistake. Like, so-and-so said this happened. I don't want it to happen to me, so I'm not going to do anything that they did. But because it's not personalized, a lot of us don't take it as seriously as we should. So then we have to kind of step in that situation, and then we learn from it later.
That's why it helps when you put yourself in someone's shoes.
Yes, of course.
Because if you can do that, you can learn from someone's mistake. And of course, like listen and like capacity like to hear what person wants to say and is saying. Like for example, like just recently had like I was texting with a guy. And he called me beautiful or whatever. I said that, like, I don't know you. Like, for me, it's a little bit cheap. You see, when the guy just started calling you beautiful.
It's not personal. He didn't know you enough for it to have, like,
yes,
Oh, beautiful.
exactly.
Gorgeous.
Oh, gorgeous. Yes, gorgeous. Yes, like, I know I'm gorgeous, but, like, you don't have to say it right now because, like, for me, it's meaningless. Because, like, you don't put anything in it, in this word. And I'm telling him that, please, like, don't call me that. Like, I don't like it.
And he doesn't understand that she's being
and
honest.
He continued to do that. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Like, he's not talking to her.
Like,
he's not listening.
Yes, he's not listening. And like, he called like late, really late. And of course I didn't pick up. And like, it's not okay. It's not appropriate. We're not friends. Yes, we're not like, don't do that. Should I call you?
What did I just say?
Like, what? Like, are you even listening? Like, I'm speaking like.
In that example, clearly no.
Yes, like I'm very like open and I speak forward. Like, don't do that, please. Like, I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable. And you continue to do that. So what should I what is the conclusion? That you don't care. You don't listen. You don't care.
I have to agree with you.
So even if like we're just strangers, when we're just talking, like, yes, it's respect. Absolutely. If you don't care, why should I? It's
I love that. Like, hey, listen, I say that all the time. Like, you give what you get.
Yes, exactly.
So if I give respect because I demand respect. So I always give it because that's what I expect in return.
And that's who you are, not because like you like expect it from someone and you want to be treated. It's just who you are.
Right.
So, but it doesn't mean that if you are not respected, you will continue to respect. No.
Correct. No, that's a really good
he
example.
pissed him off so much she blocked him. It's just she never ever blocked anyone.
But it's like
it's really rare.
Yeah.
And with her,
I don't like.
No, but you know what? Going back to your list, but I imagine that's something like that would probably be on your list.
Yeah.
Of things you're like, hey, I need somebody who's going to listen, who's going to be considerate, who's going to care about what I think and how I feel.
If you don't care, then what's the point?
What's the point?
Of course. What are we doing?
Yeah,
if you don't care, why are we even here? No, I respect that, and that's why I'm so glad to engage in these type of discussions, and why I think it's so important for us to listen to each other more.
And
not because I have all the answers.
Yeah, and definitely not make demands on the first. I don't know. First message, definitely not. First meeting, those like you have to do this.
You
don't have to do anything.
You take your time, you get to know the person, you put out there what you're about, who you are, what you want, what you're looking for, and see if, let chemistry evolve.
Yeah.
See if you guys even have some of those core values in common, and then probably there's a great opportunity for something to grow from there.
Because the relationship they are about give and get. It doesn't sound bad, it just is, but isn't it better when you give because you want, or because you're like continuously being told that you have to give?
No. Nobody wants to receive something because they pressure the other person.
Yeah.
Everything's voluntary. You want them to give it because they choose to, not because you manipulate them or you coerce them to give it.
And the quality of stuff like being given voluntarily are so much sweeter and bigger.
Of course.
When it's like
out
of a stingy way.
Listen, I think we have come together, and I think we are more or less.
We built up a file.
Yes, I think we're basically all on the same point now. Which again, that's the point of us being here. So I'm glad that we have been able to engage in this discussion, and I hope that I've been able to maybe illustrate some things that maybe you guys can think about. Sure.
So since you are talking with many men, can you give us an idea of obviously people are different. As like me and Kate, we like look for different things, but we do have stuff in common. Can you tell us what the men are looking for nowadays?
Or their expectations.
Yeah, when you ask them.
Well, it's interesting because you have different kind of groups of men. So I would say,
let's start with Americans.
No, I mean, I mean just that. I mean, like, you have the younger guys who are still trying to figure it out, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. So a lot of it, I think, is just more focused on experiences. So they're not really clear on what they're trying to work towards and what they're trying to build. I'm not saying every young man, but I'm saying a lot of them. But I think when you get to my age, like mid to late 30s and then beyond, there's much more clarity.
Yeah, we're talking about those people.
Okay. There's much more clarity in what you want and what you're looking for in life. Most men, I would say, my age, I think, are family oriented. They probably, if they haven't had a child, they probably want at least one. They probably are looking to, if they're not getting married in a traditional way, have at least a long-term committed partner, maybe to have a child with, maybe not. But I think they're at the point where they're ready to invest in another person, because they're typically pretty comfortable in their routine and their career, and they want something more and bigger than themselves. And so it's about trying to find somebody that they can feel comfortable to take that chance with. And that's why I think a lot of the conversations and the points that you two are making, it's good, right? Because we're not women. So we need to learn and appreciate what you guys are looking for and figure out where's the overlap, where's the similarities or the common ground, so that we can try to find more meaningful ways to work together to achieve it.
Yeah, this information matches everything I read on a dating app. I can see a lot of men, some of them are not really clear. Like they say that they're looking for a relationship and marriage and children, and then they put information that is irrelevant. Like 2 truths and a lie. I love socks. I'm afraid of sharks. I'm like,
yes, it's and dating. Obviously, dating is nuanced and dating is tricky because it also depends on like how much experience that person's had. The more experience they've had, not like the most is the best, but more experience typically helps them better understand how to navigate what I would call courtship. When we say dating, that's usually what we're talking about, courtship, meaning the formal process of getting to know somebody and taking them out and what that looks like. Dating is also kind of skewed right now because, well, I don't know how it's like in Russia. In America, we also have, for young people especially, there's a prevalence of hookup culture. And because of that like skews everybody's perception of what dating should be. To go back to Kate's point earlier, if I paid a meal, I have to sleep with you? Some of them might feel like that's that expectation. Well, in past times, in a traditional sense, like that's not even a thing. It's just we go out several times and it's just a part of us getting to know each other. Versus now, the barrier is very, very low. So you kind of expect like, yeah, like I bought you a coffee or I bought dinner, so like, yeah, we're sleeping together, right? And that I disagree with that point, but I also understand that it's very convoluted right now because young people are moving and behaving in a way that makes courtship and dating not really functional right now. It's something they kind of almost got to grow out of because of the way that they sort of position themselves as they start dating in their, let's say, early 20s.
Also, I just remembered the thing that my friend, again, a guy, told me. He's around 40 now, I think. So when we talked about relationship, he was already like a mature person. He told me about we were discussing the pain. Grow. Right. Second marriage, he's immature, but grown up. He had experience.
It's like being grown up doesn't mean you are mature.
Thank you. You're right. But he's Russian, but he grew up in America.
Okay.
We met in Russia, so it was interesting. At that time, I haven't traveled a lot and I haven't met anyone but like Russians. So it was different to discuss the subject of people being touchy with like who pays for the meal and you have to like sex and everything. God, I forgot why I wasn't talking about this. Oh, right. So he said that it's important for a guy to put more effort than a girl, not like 5 and 95%,
right.
But it's important for a guy to put effort to work for the things that the woman can give you because you appreciate it more, and it makes you it makes you feel really proud of yourself that you actually made it through, because like that's why paying for the food is like on a scale of things is the most insignificant thing. Like it should not even be discussed. That's why I don't understand why people put so much effort in this shit. Pull up a chair, open the door, put like on a cup. Of course you do this. Makes you happy, makes definitely me happy. Like I can do this stuff, but it makes two people happy when you do it for me. Like so that we don't have even like we shouldn't discuss it. But he's like I put so much effort. It's like it is a project, right? In a way. And then like you appreciate again. It's the same. Like if you lose your hand, you appreciate it more. But you know, so like you work, and then when you finally like have sex, like it's on a different level. Okay, yeah, well, but what you coffee and we have sex.
No, I think for a lot of guys, and we've touched on this before.
So it makes it
effort does matter, because you almost put women in like two categories: the ones that that you're gonna take seriously, and the ones that you won't. And the ones that you won't are the ones that kind of give it to you too easily.
You can just
and it's kind of like, we can understand this if you take it out of the context of dating. I usually use like education as an example. If I could give you a degree versus you having to bust your butt for it,
exactly.
You don't respect the one that you just got because you didn't have to do anything, but the one you had to work years and years to get.
And you
fundamentally have more respect, and you want other people to do the same thing. You don't want them to cheat the process because you understand that it has value. But when something comes to you easily, it's inherently less valuable.
Even if you don't treat yourself like as shit, like in general, like you always remember the effort, the struggle. So it makes you like, it would motivate you to fix the problem so you don't lose it, because you work so much, you're like, ugh.
Oh yeah, you don't want to let it go.
Okay, you go.
Kate's jumping in.
Like I see it like putting an effort and like gain something in concern of like woman. If we're saying about woman or relationship, it means that like it close to like possession, like your education degree. Shouldn't it be like shouldn't it be natural?
Yeah.
Like easy, without like putting so much effort, because like if you put so much effort, then you expect something from it. But how can you expect it? It means like you expect something something from person, that he should do this and he should do that.
You make it sound like you're eating nails. If the process is painful, like you should not be doing this.
No, but I mean the guy should put effort. I mean like effort.
Not only him. It's just a little bit more.
Okay, for me, I'm seeing like more natural. Like if two persons like each other, it just should go smooth, easily. It doesn't mean that they don't have issues to resolve, that they don't have like some disagreements or whatever.
No effort at all.
Yes, because like if the woman puts her on like a position
that discuss at home.
okay. If a woman puts her in position that a man should conquer her, it's like she is making her as a prize.
No,
maybe it's more like I'm looking at more in like feminist way, but for me it's not feminist way. It's more like equal partners way.
Sure. No, I respect that.
So out of two of us, only one of us wants to be conquered. Okay, fine. We'll settle.
No. But I want to use Kate's point though, because I think it is a fair point, because I think that's part of why we feel the pushback. I don't think, and I agree with it. I think women don't want to feel like they're property or like they're going to be owned by somebody. What I would say,
it's about self-esteem as well.
Sure. What I would say is there's elements, and this is where it gets, it's sort of in the gray. There's elements of possession, not in terms of property, but in terms of you are mine because you choose to be with me, right? We choose this relationship, right? So you're not dealing with other people and I'm not dealing with other people. So essentially you're mine, right? Now some people, I think what happens is they misconstrue that and they turn that into, so you're saying like, you can tell me what to do, or you're saying you control me and everything that I do. And I think that's where we fall off the wagon. It's not that. It's saying when you make a mutual investment in each other, there is this sense of, you can say entitlement, I'm working to be my best version of myself for me and for you. I want you to do the same for me because that makes our relationship stronger.
But the saying your mind and you have to do this because your mind, it's not like, for me, it's not mutually inclusive. Like,
well, that's different. To me, that's control. If you're saying do this because you're mine,
exactly.
That's different. I think that's where women are pushing back and saying, I don't want to feel like that, or don't make me feel like that. Because let me give you a very small, quick example, because this is something I've talked about before. Social media. It could be a woman might say, I want to be able to post whatever I want, right? And I know a lot of traditional men, and I would put myself in the same category. I would say, if we're in a relationship, I want you to consider how it would make me feel, what you would post. And depending on what you would post, if I tell you it makes me uncomfortable, I would hope you would choose to not post it. That's different than saying, take it down don't because that is disrespectful. I'm saying, if you care about me and how I feel, and I'm telling you that makes me uncomfortable, you would say, you know what, I love and respect you, I'm not going to post that, or I will remove it, I'm sorry. And vice versa, not like it's only on the woman. If he has something, that's risque or whatever, and you say, I would prefer if you didn't do that, that he would do it in return. That's why I feel like we have to have a more balanced discussion where people sometimes just throw it into, it's control or not control. You're trying to tell me what to do, or you got to let me do whatever I want to do. That works when you're by yourself. When you're a single, alone person, you can think like that. I either do everything I want, or if I'm going to be in a relationship, I have to do everything that this person wants. I'm always trying to get us to find a middle ground. You should still be your own person. Yeah. You should still think for yourself. You should still be able to make your own choices. But when you choose to be with somebody, you consider how what you do and what you say makes them feel, and vice versa.
Exactly. So hard. And like for me, like put efforts, it means that you, yes, maybe you can say, you can call it like making and being the best version of you, but maybe sometimes it's about being not yourself. And I want honesty. So like, because like, of course, when it's like dating process, yes, when you're not in relationship and the man is showing like the best version of him, but when we're in a relationship and he thinks that he conquered you, yes, and then he showed, because like he thinks that everything is okay, you are his, so he shows his true self, and you see that it's not the guy I like. No.
Right.
And for me, it's like not trying to put efforts. It's mean like I like you for who you are.
Right.
Maybe with like, it doesn't mean that you are not trying to be like better, yes, in some ways. Especially if you listen, if you take into consideration the things I like, I don't like. If you, if you about being attentive, but not like, because, for example, if I don't like a guy, yes, and if I don't see him in a romantic way, and he's like trying to put efforts, he won't conquer me. No.
Because you've already made the decision.
Yes,
that,
because I don't like
it's
him.
not gonna work.
So like, I don't like to fool you around. Yes, and I want to give you your hopes
false
that
hope.
Yes, false hope. So like, no, for me it's
and I think that also is fair. I think making sure that the expectations, to me, they scale slowly. They increase over time the closer you get to that person.
Maybe we're like putting different things into words efforts. For example, for me, maybe it's different from Olga is saying.
Oh, definitely. But also, like, I think you're still talking about the thing that like pain to feel like less obligated, right? Like for me, what you're saying is, it's like you already had several like dates and everything, like it's already a process. But you said that if you're interested in a guy, like you can understand if you're into him like in the first few minutes. So I don't think you will waste that much of his time to feel obligated to give more than just your time, So I don't understand the pressure you're already like telling that you will feel. Sorry. did I lose it? I'm not repeating it. Okay, next question.
Yes, but for example, if like I see that I'm into guy, but still I don't know like what type of relationship I want to have with him. Maybe it's just like a short one or like so that's what, for example, if it's a short one, yes, if we're talking about like casual sex or whatever, like so like I choose it because
even casual sex should not be that undervalued.
No, it's not undervalued. It's just like I choose it. It's so I need it. I want it. So like
Give it to me.
Okay, yeah.
And no, it's going back to Kate's point. It shouldn't feel like an obligation or like an expectation. It should be something that both parties choose to engage in.
For example, like for me, effort is like
Obligatory sex.
effort. Effort is
sad.
I don't guess. Okay, for what about efforts? Like, what is it for you? Paying for dinner?
It's not even an effort. Bloom.
So like what?
Paid.
What is like
What
putting
kind
effort in like?
Well, actually, no. Didn't you bring up before? Effort is like leaving the house. Like I'm comfortable.
Like bringing
Like,
myself.
I have to take the effort and the energy to actually leave my comfort zone to want to go out and get to know you.
Exactly, because I always know what to do to like enjoy my time. So like I'm consciously taking my time out of like my enjoyable, like I have, if I want to go out and have dinner, for many, well, not for everyone, but like I get an impression from many men that for them that they're going to pay for dinner is like a big ginormous, and I'm like, come on. Like for me, again, personally for me, I don't really like to go in a restaurant as a first like date in general, like
at first place.
yeah, I'm like
Maybe second.
maybe second,
Maybe
but
coffee first.
exactly. I appreciate the maybe uniqueness or more because like everyone, it's like give flowers for the birthday, you know. It's the thing that everybody think that like you have to give flowers for this, you know, this like the basic things. I don't know, maybe I'm just too picky, but also I always love the homemade stuff better. And for me, restaurants were never a big thing in general, and it's definitely not really special.
And maybe it's an issue because, like, for example, for me, it's very important how the guy eats because, like, I don't like loud noises.
You want it to be sloppy?
Yes, or sloppy. So, for example,
it is a big deal breaker.
Yes, for me it was
Slurping and munching.
But on the other hand, it's like a good test. So, like, if it's the first day and I see the okay, bye.
Like you can always buy a hot dog on the way, you know. You can always walk and eat. It doesn't mean that the date should not include food. Like if we spend more than 2 hours, I will definitely get hungry. I love to eat.
No.
So, but to go and pay for a dinner for me initially, I don't want to say it's nothing because again, sometimes people struggle with money and like different situation, right? So it is a big effort. So I don't want to undervalue somebody else's effort, but for me,
it's natural.
Yes, I mean,
it's natural.
and also I had like a lot of experience with different cuisine and restaurant, and I'm a little bit sick of it, you know, especially when the guy's like, it's saying hundreds of times like, this is a fancy place, oh my god, it's I'm like, bye. So this is like the basics of the basics, like that.
You know, wait, let me piggyback on something you just said, Olga, because to go back to Kate's point, I think sometimes the reputation of the restaurant, maybe you might say, kind of inflates the value that the man might feel that he's spending. So then his expectation, to go back to Kate's point, might be, you know, I just took you to like this $300 restaurant. Like I don't just want to kiss goodnight.
So just
also,
but
get down.
but to go back to your point, I don't think it should start there because I actually make the case. I say, to me, how you start, even initially dating, you're setting expectations for the relationship.
Exactly.
If I mean, I'm not a woman, but I'm like, if you took me out to like the nicest restaurants from the very beginning, I'm kind of thinking and expecting that you can do that all the time. So if you don't want to do that, you shouldn't start that way. You should take me somewhere that's more reasonable or a little bit lighter, so that way we can just get to know each other, and like what you guys were saying, save the dinners for like when you're getting to the point where you feel like, I think I really like you and I really want to get to know more about you, so I want us to have this time to really be with each other.
Yeah, it also depends on people, because sometimes if you go too little, like you feel like you don't even want to put too much effort, like any effort at all. Like if you just go for a walk and have I'm like, I just had this.
Right.
Why should I spend 40 minutes driving to that park to do this when I just had, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I get your point. But also if you put it that way, like it's the same way you said, like this is a nice restaurant and everything. If the girl can beat you with the money, which you might not know, like it will not make it really significant. So
Right.
you should not really put yourself in the position of where
the guy, he doesn't know what will impress you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So maybe he should ask.
Or just like casual, casual talking, like walking, and then you know each other little by little, and then you can impress someone with something significant, which will work.
Yeah, I understand completely. It's just all I'm saying is, if you think like what might be significant for you, not necessarily significant for me, like we will figure it out.
For example, food.
Yes, I do love food, but sometimes for me it would be more significant to have something less expensive. So like,
yes, food, it doesn't mean like should be fancy.
But it's like a part of going to see some like unusual corner of the city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, like it's less effort for you, definitely less money. So that's why for me, I don't put value in the money wise. Like it's
like for
that's
me
why I don't
also.
see it's a big thing to pay for the dinner. But also if the date like is a crappy one, the situation is not good, you're also not paying for the dinner. Dios míos. So you know.
This is doubly not well.
Not really well. But again, I don't have trouble or like difficulty to tell like what I expect. Sometimes like I'm in the mood. I'm not saying that I'm not going out like in a cafe eat. Not I do, but I don't have trouble. What's the word? Offering that alternative. And people or men do tend to say that they impress you with something, like they tend to repeat the same thing, you know, like
so what they say, man,
like I got it, you paid for like I like you feel very important, I got it like 5 times. You said already. So
did you know how expensive that bill was?
Exactly.
Let me tell you how expensive that bill was.
I'm like, I'm gonna help you out, it's gonna be my help to you, hope we'll never see each other again. If you have to say it so many times, maybe like it's not exactly true.
I respect
Especially
that.
if you don't get the
No, and again,
positive reaction.
The beauty and why we're discussing this and why we're going so deep into it is because this is how nuanced it is. Because it depends on the individual, number one, which is, we're learning how different you two are and how you both see it. But we also see the similarities though, and ultimately what you still want, like you still want to get to basically the same, more or less, end goal. But the route on how you get there might look different because you might be more casual in terms of, I just want to see how the energy goes and see how it flows. And you might be more like, his approach really matters and I need to know his intention, but don't be too aggressive in your approach because I don't want you to think that I owe you something. I don't want you to feel like there should be an expectation.
I think it's the same with
approach.
Easygoing and like take it casual and look how it goes.
Too much
I
is
think
never.
it's
No, you don't want too extreme of either. You want to find some type of middle ground where it should feel, I think, a bit effortless in terms of when you're in front of the person. But there's a lot of effort that goes in behind the scenes, like to get to that point.
Yes.
There's a lot of effort to let me be charming, let me be engaging, let me be witty, so she wants to talk to me. And then I have to keep doing that when I'm sitting across from her. And then where does she want to go? I don't know. I gotta put some effort into that. So there is effort, but when you're sitting with the person, hopefully it feels like it just flows, where you can just more easily share with each other and learn.
Yeah, and you should want to make an effort.
Yeah,
You should want it.
So, for
Yeah,
example,
again, not an obligation.
Exactly.
it's
Like, not that I
a
have to,
genuine
I want to.
interest in person, and then interest, desire to, and I think it's about interest. Yes.
Yeah,
Because if you are interested in someone,
you'll make it happen. If you're not interested,
yes.
you'll find a million excuses.
yeah.
Right.
The sun was not good. My planet is not in the right spot.
No, honesty and genuine interest. Honesty and genuine interest in you
Yes.
as like a woman, a personality. Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's it's very important and being mature, because like if you work out your personal stuff, like if you're mature, you feel like you have the basic things that people work to achieve,
child
right?
trauma
Work,
or
yes, and
whatever
everything.
heals.
Then you can properly push each other's buttons, you know, like you can enjoy the experience together, whether it's children or traveling or some misfortunes that you work through. Like it's very different. Like it's good that you can enjoy life by yourself, but you appreciate it more. It's different. Like I wanted to travel by myself and do things by myself, and like used to do them by myself like most of my life. And when I traveled, I really loved it. I really wanted it, so like give 100% of me. But then I reached that point and it just like hit me. Like I want to do things finally, like with Kate, like together.
So it's much more. It's much more
fulfilling, happy.
Yeah.
when you can share it with.
Of course.
We can do things by ourselves. Like we go out, we like do this, we
But
travel.
it's much more fun.
But I don't want to do it by myself anymore. Like, but I don't want to do it with anybody else in such a long chunks of
So
time.
basically, it's about fun.
Yeah.
Like, how can you make your life much more fun? Of course, you also have some struggles and whatever, but in first thing, it's about fun.
And comfort. Yeah.
Fun and comfort.
But you know, the interesting part of what you're saying too is, so you two have that perspective, but that's also because you two are very close to each other already, right? So what we're talking about is we're talking about the nuanced approach of how do you get to know somebody
By talking.
to get to that point where you can have that level. Right, absolutely. You have to communicate. So you can get to that point where you feel, where not only does it feel effortless, but you feel like you want to invest that time and energy into each other to go travel or to do nothing all day, but still be fulfilled and satisfied because it was the type of person that you wanted to be around, right? But that takes time to build that. For example, I would hear people say like, yeah, like I love spending time with my best friend. And I'm like, that makes sense because that's your best friend, right? They're clearly already somebody you value. What we're talking about is when you have somebody that you're trying to get to know, how do they become somebody like that? How do you learn to hold room for somebody to ascend to that point where they can become that level of close and connected to you? You have to also become vulnerable enough to allow somebody to know these things. Not because it doesn't diminish you, obviously, right? Or it doesn't diminish you as a close friend and close person. But when you want that romantic partner, they kind of need to be your best friend. They kind of need to be your go-to person because they're the person you're essentially building your future with. And it doesn't diminish either of you, but to get to that point, I kind of either have to push somebody to the side a little, or at least have to create enough room where they can learn, they can actually have the opportunity to stand there and then get to know me in that very, very intimate way.
Yeah, we talked about this actually with Kate. It will be very beneficial for guys that we have each other. I'm actually building up the ground for a guy, helping her to get used to like more emotional stuff, physical touch and all this stuff, and she helps me to learn how to communicate better. Because I'm like man in this way, I don't like to discuss stuff, especially when it's like not really nice.
And we need to talk.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do this, I'm gone.
Listen.
We
but,
need to talk.
but those things are important. You're right. Those things, and maybe you two have a unique opportunity where you can kind of inform and educate each other
yes.
somewhat,
And grow, yes.
and then that will benefit future partners because they will get a more balanced version of you.
Exactly.
And they can get help. When I get mad and they don't know, like he doesn't know what to do. Hello.
Hey, that's what it's about. But that's, my point is that's what it takes. So we're just encouraging each other to slowly and healthily put ourselves out there.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to create those opportunities. My whole thing was, I don't like seeing people alone. I also don't like seeing people quickly run and escape relationships because something small happens and they have this attitude that I can quickly find somebody to replace you. I'm like, listen, when you genuinely get to know somebody and you genuinely put yourself out there, that is not a process you want to repeat over and over and over again. You want to make it work with that person because you've already put in a certain amount of effort. So I don't want us to continue to fuel this idea that if it doesn't work out with Olga, I'm just going to go get Kate anyway. This is going to be exactly the same. I'm just going to swap her in. And it's simple.
It would be meaningless. So it doesn't matter if it would be he or me.
You also get tired of this.
You just need only a girl, yes? So
that's my point.
Yes.
It actually, that to me takes away the value. Because it devalues all the effort and the energy that you both put in to get to the point that you've gotten to. So my whole thing, like I said, is it's not that you have to stick through everything, and it's not that you never walk away because if your needs aren't being met and you're communicating and you're trying to work through it and it's not happening, it's okay, right? But a lot of times we don't do that. We don't do the communication part. We skip that part and we're like, I'm unhappy, so I'm gonna leave. And the other person doesn't really understand what is going on, so nothing gets addressed, and then you both are basically left in this, not broken state, but you're left in a position where you don't have that person that you've invested so much effort into. And I think it lends us to repeat that cycle because you're not learning the fundamental lesson. If I don't want this to continue, I need to communicate with that person to figure out what went wrong or what things were going wrong that we were not dealing with, and that led us to this point that we're now separated.
I wonder if people do this because they're scared or lazy, or it's like 50-50.
I think a lot of it is fear. I think it's fear way more than it is being lazy. Because you can be lazy and eventually it would come out. Eventually. But I'm talking about people walking away from relationships that they've invested considerable time, effort, and resources in, and they don't ever have a conversation about it. Or they have a conversation after the person has already drawn a conclusion. I'm leaving. Why? Because you haven't done blah, blah, blah. Well, we never talked about it. Yeah, but I'm done. Well, I can't do anything about it now because you didn't talk to me about it earlier enough so I could actually address it. Well, you should have figured it out.
Yeah, that's...
How? I can't read your mind.
That pisses me, exactly.
How do you expect me to know?
How am I supposed to know? Yeah, that pisses me off.
Those are these assumptions that we make. And so, like I said, that's a part of what I try to talk about here because it's what I've seen even professionally with couples that I work with. People sometimes operate with this you should know mentality instead of let me tell you what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, and then let's see if we can figure this out.
Also, if it's so difficult for you to write it down, let me read.
That's it grows from self-esteem, from low self-esteem, from child trauma or whatever, childhood trauma. So that's why people should go to therapists. That's why they should heal. That's why they should grow and be more self-conscious before they get into a relationship.
I agree.
So
that's the best way to end this conversation because I'm always an advocate of that. Seriously, that to
Come
me
to me, people.
No, not even just to me, just in general. I appreciate people who are willing to deal with their stuff because I understand how hard it is. I mean, I've been there, so I'm not speaking from some privileged position of I don't know what hardship is. I've had to go through it too. I respect the journey and how hard it is, but I also know if you want to get to a place where you are fully comfortable embracing somebody new and genuinely giving them a chance, it's going to require you to deal with that stuff. In order to allow yourself to be really vulnerable with them in an authentic way. But a lot of times we do this this guarded approach. I say I'm really putting myself out there, but I'm not really putting in the effort. Well, then why are you? I call that half stepping. Why are you taking half a step there, but then you're not willing to fully commit? How about you just take that step back and figure out why you're hesitant, why you're reluctant, why you're scared, or whatever word is associated with it. Deal with that. Then go out there.
to Kate's point, then go out there when you're healed and you've dealt with your stuff as best as you can, and you're ready to give somebody a shot.
Yeah. And it's okay when it's hard sometimes. Like, life is not supposed to be like only rainbows.
No.
You know, so
And of course it will be hard. Because
it
like
will
when
be.
you start a family,
Yes.
you have so many like issues, financial issues,
Even before
parenting
that.
issues, blah blah blah. Yes. So-
Again, it's like the good life feels better when
Yeah.
you went through some shit, you know. It's like
That's true.
when you grew those potatoes and you like everything from the beginning until you get into it, you're like, it's divine. Even if it's like just mashed potatoes, you know.
Hey, listen, that's a very true point though. Like, I always say that because I think sometimes we forget. Like, good wouldn't feel good if you didn't have bad.
Especially now, like, people have so many things easy. Again, order food, you know, when, like, I hate this, but I also kind of, it's difficult for me to break the cycle. Like, it's, okay, get to the basics. I'm talking about food. There are like so many different options, and we are so spoiled. Like, I still remember how it was when I was a child, and like I remember the smell of New Year or like Christmas for you. It's like it smelled like salami and tangerines for me, and then like we had more of it on a daily basis. So I remember when I asked my mom, let's not have this and this and this and that for 3 months until Christmas. So it's like exciting again because every day is Christmas. So I hate it, but it's like I cannot like stop eating different foods. So I deprive myself enough. So I'm like getting excited by carrot, you know, or salad, or like pasta or something like this. Most of the time we get so spoiled with the food, we don't know what to eat, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like, so it's definitely undervalued.
It becomes a lack of appreciation.
Yeah, lack of appreciation, and I think it's for everything. Like, even if you're not in a relationship, you again with dating apps, you go through, like, you scroll through people and you do a little bit texting, like, okay, I've done my part, you know. But again, half step, as you said.
Right. It requires more.
Exactly.
And that's the point I'm coming to. You know, if you're not ready, which is okay, we acknowledge that. Go do your work.
Yes.
You said therapy, go do your work. Then and only then we take the opportunity, let me go put myself out there. I say that just because I think you'll have a higher probability of the outcome that you want. If I'm going into it where I haven't really dealt with my stuff, could it work out for you? Maybe. But you're greatly decreasing the likelihood you're gonna get what you, because you got too many things going on. When you clear a bunch of that stuff out and then you put your foot out there, there's probably a greater chance that you're going to be successful. It might still take you some time, but you're probably increasing the chances of finding that person, a person that fits what you want, much more easily. So that's my point of really doing that inner work and not rushing out there. So it requires us to have these types of discussions, because a lot of us don't have people, we don't have women readily accessible to just, hey, let me pick your brain real quick. Let me talk to you about your lived experiences. And for a lot of guys out there,
I left it in my drawer.
yeah, I mean, for a lot of guys, you know, and like I said, there's a lot of fear because they're afraid of rejection, which I understand. But part of my goal is to educate them and inform them. And part of that is by having people like yourself to share about your lived experiences and ultimately hope that there's more opportunities for us to connect and not find more reasons to be at each other or feel like we are in opposition of one another. So I appreciate you two immensely. This definitely went a lot longer than I thought, but I'm very happy that it did.
I am not surprised. Why am I not surprised?
No, it's good. It's good. And I appreciate, because this was, you know, sometimes this is just happenstance and chance where people come together and you have great discussions. So I appreciate you two a lot for being here.
You're welcome.
And I hope that anybody that watches and listens to this also appreciates this. And if you do, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, and look out for more of this type of content, because there's definitely more coming. Maybe not quite as special as this, because this was a very unique opportunity, but we'll have more coming.
We'll come visit.
Yes, if you want to hear more, definitely check out our channel. And until next time, we're gonna sign off. So, peace out, guys.